WNYathletics.com would like to thank today's sponsors. Howard Hanna Real Estate Services. Ready to sell your home? Visit howardhanna.com today. Howard Hanna. Home happens here. Western New York Immediate Care, with 4 convenient locations in the Buffalo area: Amherst, Buffalo, Depew, Lancaster, and Orchard Park. Western New York Immediate Care is now offering telemedicine services to provide you care anytime, anywhere. Visit WNY Immediate Care on-site or virtually at WNYimmediatecare.com. Logistics Plus Buffalo is your go-to resource for all your transportation needs. LP moves freight of all shapes and sizes all across the world. Call LP Buffalo today at 716-877-9653 or email buffalo@logisticsplus.com. AdPro Sports. AdPro is the largest team sports dealers and brand merchandise providers in the nation. For a variety of custom merchandise solutions, from apparel to promotional items, visit adprosports.com. Empire Electric. For all your home, business, or office electrical needs, call Empire Electric at 716-634-0330. Free estimates and financing available for all customers. Empire Electric. Call 716-634-0330.
Welcome in to High School Sports Saturday, April 15th edition, 2023. We are hitting the diamond today. We're going to talk baseball, softball, joined this week by the one and only Tom Prince and, of course, Joe Daniel. And, Tom, this is your bread and butter right here.
Oh, come on. I've been waiting 3 seasons for this. You know that. So, no, this is going to be fun. We got a lot to talk about. We got a lot of great things that we're going to be discussing. We're going to recognize some of these athletes out here on both the baseball and softball side of things. But I think before we even kick anything off, Francis, let's start things off and make sure we recognize our friend Roger Weiss. Roger, you are in all our thoughts and prayers right now. Think about you every single day, and just know that we're right here with you. And his wife Diana. I mean, she's just an unbelievable woman. That woman, what she's endured, what she's going through, just how she handles herself, how she handles this situation. Just absolutely amazed. And those two are an amazing husband and wife combo, and just an amazing man Roger is. And we're all here in Western New York thinking about you and praying for you.
You know, I heard something last week. I don't know if you know the story, but I guess Frank used to live in the apartment that Roger and Diana first lived in when they got together.
No way. I haven't heard
right
that one.
Hilbert.
No.
Yeah. I guess they were driving one day by Hilbert, and Roger's like, "Oh, pull over. I used to live by here." Like, "Oh, really?" And they finally, Roger's like, "Keep going. Let's just go in there." And finally he's like, "Is this the house you lived in?" Like, Frank. He's like, "Yeah." It's like, "Oh, yeah. Diana used to live there when we got together."
Wow.
Yeah, it's tough. It's hard, when see people you're close with that are suffering, and all you can do is keep praying and keep fighting and never give up. That's all anyone really wants, is just to keep fighting, and you hope things get better, but you have so much love and support, and you be there for your friends.
Yeah. So before we get into what we're about to do, we've got some things we want to go through, right? So, Francis, did you want to talk a little flag football and how things got started? I'll tell you, I read a great post to kick things off that some of these coaches in flag football and some of the plays they're running are unbelievable is what I'm hearing off the bat.
Tom, before we get to that, I do want to mention, though, the 50th anniversary celebration of the Connolly Cup. Do you want to get this in? That's going to be Wednesday, July 26th, 3 to 7 p.m. at Fontana's Grove. You can see all the information there on your screen. If you want to come in, reach out. They're looking to honor all their past recipients and nominees. So watch out for that. It's all over our social media as well. So get your tickets now before it's too late. But let's jump back to football. But you're right. It's a lot of fun.
So if I'm correct, okay, Clarence OP just played in a thriller. It was 13-6, I think the final was.
It was 14-6.
14-6, I apologize. And from what I understand, there was a Hail Mary thrown by Orchard Park at the end of this game that they connected with, but the flag got pulled just before they were able to get into the end zone.
Wow.
That's how the game ended, is from what I understand. So, but I'm hearing stories like this all over Western New York. I'm going to tell you, you better cut out and watch one of these flag football games. I know we had a chance to already put one out on air. There's going to be more to come, too, but there is some great flag football being played.
Yeah, this weekend is kind of that first weekend of the regular season with the league games. So I think, going on in about an hour, we're going to have a couple games, including Frontier at Niagara Wheatfield and then Williamsville North at Sweet Home. And, of course, we know Sweet Home was one of the defending champs from last year. They really dominated the whole way. So yeah, this game is a lot of fun. We saw Amherst Hamburg 28-0, but I'll tell you what, that Hamburg team was very much in it from throughout that first half. Hamburg was right on the doorstep from scoring. You had some great plays. You had some, great runs along the sideline. Second play of the game, Amherst scores on a dump pass, and the tailback kind of gets away, or kind of one of those HB delay plays, and kind of gets it off and goes into the end zone. Lots of fun to do. I know Jake and I really enjoyed it, and I think once we get more people out here and watching, you're really get into these games.
No,
Francis, I don't know if you know this, and Tom, I coach flag football every year, and it's for the boys now. And there's been more girls' participation the last 3 years. You're seeing maybe 20% of the kids that come up in 9, 10, 11 that are girls. And if they stick it out, they're really good by the time they're 11, and then they're dominant by the time they're 12. So you're going to see this as these girls get older. This league's going to even get bigger because the girls who are playing flag football right now are going to want to play in high school. And it has grown so much in a year. Thinking about another couple of years, how much bigger it is because these kids play flag football. They love it. And these girls are really good at it. Some of the skill we've seen is incredible. I mean, and the plays that they run. I tell you guys, these teams aren't big, right? But the practice that it takes to get these plays to run the right way is hard. And it's tricky because you've got certain formations and certain routes that you're running for certain players and to be on time. And the coaching is only going to get better, too, as some of these players who are playing, like we saw last week with Amber and the Williamsville North coach. They come back to coach. You're going to get more experienced coaches in time, too, which is really exciting for the girls' game.
And we're seeing some of the football coaches come over and coach. I know Rich Gray is the coach for Frontier.
Rich Gray, Jim Marino,
Yep.
Mike Turillo.
You can go up and down, right?
But you're going to see the girls' coaches,
Ty
too.
Parker.
Oh, and again, I'm not trying to take away from that. I'm just trying to say is you got a coach that is already coaching football, and I'll guarantee some of those plays are going to be brought over from what they're already doing on the football field.
One thing I've told kids that I've coached, when you are playing, now this is the boys, but especially, this is how good flag football is. When you're 12 years old, play flag football, 13, 14, because you can run routes and not get hit. You're practicing stuff that will help you out in your football season. And Nico Pinelli, I give him a shout out from St. Francis. He did this. He played from 12 through 13. It made him a better football player. So flag football is just a great sport to play. It'll make you a better athlete.
So, 2 games going on at 10. You had Sweet Home at Niagara Wheatfield, and then later tonight, you'll have Williamsville South at Iroquois. They're going to play most of their games on Saturdays at 10 a.m., but they're kind of moving games a little bit throughout the week, so you're going to see there's going to be a couple on Tuesday, a couple on Wednesdays, so watch out for that. Another important point, this league has almost doubled in size in 1 year. You went from 12 teams to 27. That's almost unheard of.
Well, and there's a reason for those games at 10 a.m. on Saturday. So they're allowing most of these young women to play another sport, too, so they didn't hurt the other sports at the same time. So doing those games at 10 a.m., they're trying not to conflict with a lot of the other sports.
Yeah, and I think it's certainly going to be a lot of fun. Marissa Daria from Sweet Home, she's the chairperson behind this, and I remember last year they opened the season. They kind of had a Friday Night Lights game against Amherst. They brought out food trucks and all other stuff, and I think you might start to see at some point maybe like a spring homecoming game where they play a flag football game and then they honor the other teams at halftime, like you see, in the fall. I think
Heck,
that
they
would
should
be
get
really
their
cool.
bonfire, their homecoming. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I love it. I think that's phenomenal. I really do.
How about this as an idea? And I don't know if this has happened because only season 2, right? For this, getting the boys football team even more behind the girls. Getting them to the games, showing that support. That'll help grow their game too.
Absolutely. I mean, any of that is. I mean, and I haven't seen the crowds yet, and obviously we'll start seeing that as we start going along. But that's really where you want the support, right?
Yeah.
Support should be in the stands for any of these athletes. There really are.
And another thing is they're going to play for a sectional title this year, possibly at Highmark Stadium, and then in next year they're going to have a full-blown state championship.
Yep. So you said, boy, they have their own food trucks, everything. Let's kick that off and do something we're going to do. Try to transition. You notice that one right there?
That was good.
But we're going to run probably the largest event we've ever seen here in Western New York that has been a combo baseball, softball event. Last year we ran the first ever Western New York Athletics Baseball Day. And it was time to make it bigger, better, and everything that we could this year. So this year, it's going to be Western New York Athletics Baseball Softball Day is what it's going to be. Well, we're going to have 16 games, 32 teams, all in Niagara Falls on April 29th. And it's for a cause. Last year, we did this for an absolute amazing coach. I can't give him enough superlatives or positives, but Dennis Crowley over Depew, what he's done is just absolutely amazing. And what he is going through is he's fighting right now against ALS. And we had a whole day that was all about him. So we really wanted to keep that theme going in this year. And this year, I was going to put this whole thing out, let everybody vote, give us some ideas. And then just a couple weeks ago, I had a message sent to me about a young boy that I had already known what he had been going through. And his name is Colt Matz. He's a 12-year-old boy in the Portville School District. This young man had the opportunity to beat leukemia once already. Okay? Actually had to have a bone marrow transplant. That the bone marrow that he got from the donor was his younger brother. Well, unfortunately, a couple weeks ago, he got the message that said that the transplant or the bone marrow was actually too good, and unfortunately, the leukemia is back. He's in the fight for a second time right now. Never mind asking a 12-year-old to fight for his life once. Now they're doing it again. Okay, he's gonna have to go through everything all over again. And I really want us as a baseball, softball community to just show Colt how much we care about him and how much we're here for him. There's a lot of other kids that are in the same boat, right? There really are. Where Colt comes into baseball is his father is the head coach of Portville's baseball team. Plus, his mother is also a teacher in the school district. An amazing family this family is. So what we did for Dennis, we are now going to do for Colt. Just like I said, this kid's amazing. Absolutely me. He had to go through a surgery last night. I read a post. He went through a surgery last night. He's just about to go into surgery. And you know what he says to his mother? Ready? Gives him the thumbs up to his mom and said, "Don't worry. This is the start to my recovery." 12-year-old boy doing that.
Yeah.
Just unbelievable. And that's why we're going to show him that we're all behind him.
And sometimes we forget money will be raised for him and his family. Goes beyond the money. The love and support that the family will see that'll carry on to the son. I think that's more priceless than any dollar raised.
I totally agree. So now let's get into some of these matchups on the day, right? We're going to kick things off at 10 a.m. will be the opening ceremonies, okay? And then what we're going to do is we're going to go into, I'll go softball first, and then I'll go to the baseball side. We're going to kick things off at 10:30. Niagara Falls will take on Mount St. Mary on Field 1. Field 2 will be Grand Island versus Will North. Then at 12:30, Niagara Wheatfield will take on Hamburg at Field 1. Orchard Park will take on St. Mary's at Field 2. At 2:30, we've got Fredonia coming up to take on Will East, and Westfield to come up and take on Eden. And then at 4:30, Clarence is going to take on Sacred Heart, and Nardin will take on Cheektowaga. So huge softball matchups right there. Then we're going to flip it to the baseball side. At 10:30, we kick things off. Niagara Falls will take on Sweet Home on Field 1, and St. Joe's will take on Clarence on Field 2. Then at 1 o'clock, Will North will take on Canisius on Field 1, and Southwestern will take on Maryvale at Field 2. At 3:30, St. Francis will take on Orchard Park on Field 1. West Seneca West will take on Dunkirk on Field 2. And then at 6 o'clock, Frontier takes on Will East on Field 1, and Ken West takes on Medina on Field 2.
So let me ask you this, Tom. Big matchups, right? Are there games that normally you wouldn't normally see, but in a matchup like this, because of the tournament kind of style, that you'll see, like say St. Francis playing someone they normally wouldn't play, which is a really good opportunity for the boys and girls to see different teams, right?
Yeah, oh, no doubt about it. I really tried to make sure that we've got Monsignor Martin in here. We got North teams, we got South teams, we got East teams, we got West teams, right? It really comes from all over the place that we've got the opportunity to do this. Granted, baseball does a very good job of Monsignor Martin mixing in with the Section 6 teams, but we're giving them more of a high-profile game here to be able to set up in this event is what we'll be able to do. But, like, look at it. Like, Frontier playing Will East. Like, that hasn't happened, what about Ken West taking on Medina?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, that's a great matchup right there. You can go up and down all over the place. There's just phenomenal matchups on either side, both softball and baseball.
It's like the NCAA tournament when you see teams that don't normally play each other and they turn out to be great games because they don't know much about each other. Yeah. You know what I mean? It's going to be a fun day.
So that's our day that we're going to kick off. Please join us on April 29th, Saturday, up at Niagara Falls.
Yep, I just, for the people out there, I did put information on our website. A couple of reminders. Admission is $5, and we're looking for your help as well. We're doing a basket raffle, so you can donate a basket, make a monetary donation, become an event sponsor. And if you're able to volunteer and help out, we're always looking for volunteers as well.
Absolutely. And how to do that is right on the website that you can actually see who to contact so that we can get everything all situated and go on. So let's get into a little bit this week. I got the opportunity on Thursday to head down to Silver Creek, where I got a chance to watch Mike Janis get his 500th victory at Silver Creek. And I got to be honest with you guys, I didn't know if it was going to happen when I got there, right? So I got there, and the field's set up pretty neat because how the field is set up is it kind of goes out this way, and along the third base side, above the opposing dugout, is the football press box to the football field. So you can actually sit up in the press box and see everything. That's where they play all the walk-up music and everything right up there. So I'm like, you know what? I'm going to go up and sit down in the press box. I got my camera set up. I got everything ready to go. And the game starts off 2-1. I'm like, all right, this is going to be a good game. This may come down to the end, right? Mm-hmm. Well, till we got to the fifth inning. Fifth inning was very interesting because Chautauqua Lake actually goes up 9-2 in the top of the fifth. And I'm going, oh, man, no way. They're not going to do this. Like, how is Silver Creek going to come back in this one? Like, they're down 7 runs, right? They come back in the bottom of that inning. It's 9-4. Then it's 9-6. Then we go to the next inning, 9-7. We go to the bottom of the 7th, 9-7. Silver Creek's losing. Walk. I think it was a hit by batter in there. Before you know it, 10-9. Silver Creek comes back for the victory. Mike Janis gets his 500th.
Wow. not only is that a great comeback, when you're down by 7 runs, just little by little, right?
Yeah.
You're not going to get it all back at once, but to win it that way with the walk, and it hits batsmen to get 3 men on base, that's got to. It's a tough loss, but what a great comeback.
Like I said, it was. I think it was one of those games where everyone, I think, I talked to Coach Cummings on Chautauqua Lake. There was so many positives he could take out of that game and still use a loss as a victory, right? Just unbelievable. And then here was one of the best stories I had heard of the night. So first of all, Dunkirk's head coach was there, right? I saw the former Fredonia head coach right there. I saw, there was everyone there to enjoy and celebrate what Mike has done over his career. But here was a great one. The coach over at Chautauqua Lake, right, is Matt Cummings. His father is actually his assistant coach. And his father has been a head coach for years in high school baseball. His first job, though, that was ever offered to him came from Mike Janis over at Silver Creek.
Wow. Yeah, exactly.
So it was pretty interesting on the 500th. He's also standing over on the other sideline right there against him right there in that game. It just showed there were so many positive moments in that game. But I really want to congratulate Mike on a fantastic career. More to come, right? But a great job to be able to get that 500 victory right there. Congratulations, Mike Janis over at Silver Creek.
And then, Tom, before we get to break, because I know we got to get into these baseball and softball teams, but I want you to talk about, you said there was another thrilling game.
Yeah, that's what I was going to get to. So Sweet Home West Seneca West had two great matchups this week. Game 1 is a 2-1 game. 2-1 game goes into the 7th inning, and I'll tell you right now, West Seneca West has some pitching out there, and first of all, they're led by J.R. Haasfurter, also known as Haas, right? So J.R. pitched an absolute gem in this game. But you look at Sweet Home, does the same thing, right? 2-1, right? 2-1 gem that's pitched out there. Ryan Vanderlip comes into the game for West Seneca West, goes 1, 2, 3 strikeouts in the 7th inning, gets the win for West Seneca West. So they come back the next day, go, boy, how are we going to outdo this one? You want to know how they outdo it? 12 innings.
Wow.
12 innings, almost 2 complete games right there, right? Because 7-inning games. 12 innings. In the 12th inning, West Seneca West gets the victory 3-2 in this one. Remember that kid I just talked to you about, Ryan Vanderlip? He pitches the 1 inning before, has 3 strikeouts. Then he comes in relief in the second game, goes 6 innings of relief in the second game. 6 innings of relief without a run. That's pretty something right there.
Well, and that's 7 innings in 2 games that he didn't give up a run, right?
Yeah. I mean, he really is, something special to watch out there, and he's going to be someone that you're going to be looking out on this team. And he also goes 2 for 6 in that game with 2 of the RBIs of the 3 runs. So he gets 2 of the RBIs right there. Plus, scores a run. And went and pitched 6 innings in relief, right? 6 innings of relief, 10 strikeouts.
Wow. You don't see that every day.
Listen, we will. Oh, we're going to hear some big strikeout games.
Yeah.
Right? We're going to hear. I bet you we're going to hear a 17, 18 strikeout game. We're going to have them. There's no doubt about it. We're going to have some of those big games. But I'll tell you, this was 2 games inside the ECIC 1. Remember, West Seneca West has always been up in the ECIC 1. Sweet Home joins ECIC 1 this year, and 2 great games to kick things off.
And that's got to give Sweet Home a lot of confidence because they're not used to being in that upper division. They're used to being in ECIC 2, so to get that confidence to be able to hang with them. Now, granted, West Seneca West in a similar situation.
Yeah, they're in the same situation because when they go to sectionals, they play each other.
Yeah.
Right? They'll be the only 2 teams that come out of ECIC 1 that really play each other. So it's a great matchup when you look at it there. But I will tell you, folks, I know we're going to go to break in a second, but I'll tell you the theme I've really seen this year. Baseball's young. It's the youngest I've seen teams come out so far here in Western New York. And it's been a theme that we're seeing clear across the way. And it could even be that you see is some of these young teams may struggle early on and then all of a sudden start to hit stride once you start really getting consistency with games. Or two, you're going to see some of these teams that are senior heavy really have good seasons.
So when you mean a team's young, are there more sophomores and juniors than seniors, right?
Oh yeah,
But that'll get you going for the next year because you have the experience.
absolutely. But it takes time for those kids to get acclimated to to the game. Like I watched Frontier and Orchard Park play. Frontier's young, right? He's only got one senior on the team. And he's not a starter, but only one senior on the team. So what does that tell you, right? These kids got to get acclimated. There's not a lot of varsity time that's out there. It's going to take time. But when they get acclimated, watch out when the switch goes off, right? Because when that switch goes off and the belief is there, you got a team that really can do some damage.
So my question, I know we have to go to break, but the guys who have played JV, who are playing varsity, the speed, like AAA, Major League, there's a difference. Is there a big difference in JV and varsity that the guys have to get used to?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Do you see kids throwing 85 on JV?
Probably not.
No, but you'll see it up at the level.
And
of
a couple
varsity.
miles an hour makes a difference, right,
Oh,
for teenagers, right?
It could absolutely be a hit to right field, bringing a swing and a miss into the mitt.
Yeah.
Right? Plus the curveballs have more drop to them. Plus the the changeups are that much better. Just it's a notch up all the time. It really is.
All right, on that note, why don't we take a break and we'll jump in more to that ECIC 1 division. You're watching High School Sports Saturday on WNY Athletics.
Western New York Immediate Care's new locations are now open. Whether you've suffered a minor injury or just aren't feeling well, Western New York Immediate Care provides safe, quick, high-quality care at an affordable cost. Our clinicians are trained to diagnose and treat non-life-threatening injuries and illnesses and are equipped with on-site x-ray and labs to help you feel better, faster. With 4 convenient locations open 7 days a week, Western New York Immediate Care is here to help when and where you need us. Visit us online to learn more.
Do you insure a lot of businesses?
Yes, we do.
How about restaurants?
We got a bunch.
Do you cover property damage?
Yes, we do.
How about my equipment?
Covered.
How about sewer backup?
We got it.
What if my cook gets hurt?
They're covered.
Foodborne illnesses?
Covered.
What if my party tent goes down?
Covered under property damage.
And you say this is all under one policy?
One policy.
When do I pay?
Once a month.
Just one time?
Just one.
Is there anything you don't cover?
What's your record for consecutive questions asked?
31.
Tables. We don't do tables.
Gotta love Buffalo.
For all your insurance questions, call the Wolf at 835-WOLF.
Logistics Plus is a global transportation provider headquartered in Erie, PA with locations worldwide, including right here in Western New York. Logistics Plus is consistently recognized as a fast-growing transportation and logistics company, great supply chain partner, top freight broker, leading project cargo manager, and a great place to work. With a strong passion for excellence, our 500-plus employees put the plus in logistics. Call our Buffalo office today for an efficient, personal approach for all of your transportation needs.
I love being home.
There's nothing better than owning the perfect house to come home to. You've earned it, and we'll make it happen. Our local real estate experts and in-house team of financial professionals make buying or selling your home simple. Howard Hanna. Home happens here.
I love being home.
Welcome back, High School Sports Saturday on Western New York Athletics. We're going to jump into our baseball previews, and we'll start again with that ECIC 1 division. So we'll start, let's see, we have 7 teams this year. Orchard Park, West Seneca West, we just talked about, Clarence, Williamsville North, Frontier, Sweet Home, and Lancaster. So, Tom, what do you make of this ECIC 1 this year? Always a tough division.
Oh, absolutely. And, we're going to see that play out, right? We already talked about it. Like when we look at things like West Seneca West, let's start with them, right? West Seneca West has got a number 1 pitcher in J.R. Hosford. We've also talked about Vanderlip. If you've got pitching, you could go win games like this 2-1 where the bats may not be that available out there. I'll tell you, West Seneca West is going to get some big wins against some of the upper level teams in this division because of their pitching. No doubt about it. I'll tell you, watch out for them. They're going to be dangerous when it comes to sectional time because of that pitching and that rotation that they could start putting together right now. I already talked about Frontier, young, but I think we're going to start seeing them come into the play, into the mix, as the season starts to go on. And then, to me, really watch out for Lancaster. Lancaster is already coming out very strong here early in the mix. You've also got Orchard Park, who is very deep in pitching when you look at it right now. When you look at their pitching staff, they've got Robert Leach. They got Liam Pitlock just threw a complete game against Canisius yesterday when they won 7-1 for Orchard Park. So Liam Pitlock, Tyler Pullman's another kid that goes to the mound. You got a name we all know, Ben Gazella behind the dish right there, who is, helping this pitching staff out. Got a great lefty bat in the middle of that lineup. It really is something to watch. Another kid who's having a huge season to kick things off is Gabe D'Angelo. Gabe D'Angelo over at third base right now. He's playing third base. He's also playing right field. Is smashing the ball right now for Orchard Park. And I'll tell you, this team really looks good to kick things off. The other team I think that everyone better watch out for and better be cognizant of is Will North. And I think that Max Zimmerman's going to have another good team. You could just see in the players that are committed to play at the next level for Will North, right? Chris Kramer going to Walsh. Cole Schrothsetter is going to Alfred State. Andrew Tucker's going to Fredonia. Jace Rutowski going to N-Trip. Jacob Kim Kubiak and Jack Janokro is going to Hilbert. So look at this. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 players come in to play at the next level.
You can't.
Right? So that just shows he's deep, right? Yeah. He's got a deep team. He's always been known for pitching, and there's no doubt that this team's going to be in the mix. I think you're going to see the top 3 teams that probably come out of this division will be the Lancaster, Will North, and Orchard Park. That'll be in the mix. I think we're going to learn a lot about Orchard Park on Sunday as they travel out to Rochester to take on McQuaid. That we'll really see is this team, a team that is an upper tier team that we're going to be noticing. And then don't forget there's a team that, year after year after year is always a top team in Western New York, and that's Clarence, right? Down last year was young. Now you got some of that youth that has a year under their belt. Watch out, Clarence is going to make noise in this division at the same exact time that you got. Remember, they were 8-13 last year, but with Brady Colhane, Matt Kanshaw, Grayson White, right? Nate Wojciechowski, all those people returning right there, I really believe you're going to start seeing Clarence get back into the mix of things also. And then the other team, which we talked a little bit about, which was Sweet Home, right now they're 2 big seniors that are on that team that will help lead the way. Matt Gardner, no doubt, will be one of them, especially as their catcher behind the plate. Dom Dunstan's another big player right there. Zach McGowan, Carter Bandelian, Mike Morris, and Jacob Brand will be your returning players right there for Sweet Home. And again, was a young team still, but look at that core that's coming back as far as returners. I think they're going to be in the mix. And I'll tell you, I really believe Sweet Home is going to do very similar to what we've seen West do the last couple of years, and that is play up. But because you're playing these better teams, when you get back to sectional play, you are ready to take on anybody, and there will be a run made by Sweet Home because of it.
You said Will North, they always have good pitchers. Why do they always have good pitchers?
They're deep.
Just the development is it they're deep, but every year they're deep. Why are they deep every year?
Well, listen, and I talk about this in football. I talk about it in many sports, right? It all comes from what's happening down in the youth programs, right? That's your feeder
Yeah.
programs, right? In other words, you don't get a kid that's going to come out for baseball unless they've already done it and did that, right? There's a great program in Will North right there at Lou Gehrig. Lou Gehrig is one of the top Little League programs in the area, and there is for a reason. And that's your feeder program, in essence, that's getting into a lot of the Williamsville schools. But that's the reason why they're so deep. Think about it. If you know anything about the Little League programs, Lou Gehrig at levels will put out 3 different travel teams. Lou Gehrig Red, Lou Gehrig Blue, Lou Gehrig White. Guess what? That's a lot of pitching.
But all those 3 teams can compete, right?
They're in essence normally an A, B, and C team,
Okay.
or maybe a
But
A minus B plus C team type that. But listen, I don't care what it is at 12 years old.
Yeah.
Right? Because listen, when I took over, when I started with my son Luke,
Yeah.
I had a C team. Is when it started. And guess what? On that team that I started, that was a C team, there are 3 players right now playing on that Orchard Park team,
Yeah.
and 2 of them are starting.
Because it's all about development over the course of time,
That's
right?
it. And
Yeah.
again, what
Coaching.
you are at 11, you're not going to be at 16, 17 years old.
Yeah. And coaching 11, 12-year-olds, sometimes these kids think that. And, like, you are young. There's time. Proper coaching, proper mindset will help.
And also, remember, up to 12 years old, you play in a short field.
Yeah.
Kids love hitting the home runs, right? And when they get to 13, 14 years old, the game completely changes. And when it completely changes, some of those studs that were 12 and 11 years old that are studs aren't playing the sport anymore.
Yeah.
It's not fun. They don't like the transition from the small field to the big field. So that's why some of the players that were on that BC team all of a sudden become A players for a school district.
Yeah. Well, we talk about Will North, Frontier. Obviously, I grew up in the Frontier district. I mean, see their field. Their field is amazing.
Oh, well, that's a yeah. All right, we'll do that, and then we'll go to ECIC.
Yeah, I just want to talk about the Frontier field.
So that field
Yeah.
is right now state of the art, right? And we've got a lot of state of the art fields, right? There are some gorgeous fields all over the place. I could go up and down Western New York, down to Salamanca, right? Who's got Allegheny Limestone's got a great field, right? Gowanda's got a great field. Lockport's got 2 great fields.
Yes.
We already know Niagara Falls does, right? We know Depew does, right? I could go up and down. I really can. This field, wow. So it's not even done. It's going to be a complex. They still have another field that they're going to build that's going to be for lacrosse and soccer, and it's going to be even bigger complex. This field, though, has got stadium seating right around it.
I love it.
The field was mimicked after the University of Binghamton's field is what it was mimicked after. And you could just see the turf.
Which is where state championships are played.
Bingo.
Nice plug.
Turf, absolutely gorgeous. Now, the part I'm going to tell you, if you are an opposing player or you are someone that's there, you know we play in cold weather. Like next week, we're going to be in the 40s playing baseball, right? And softball. Their dugouts, it's not fully done yet, but it is set up and ready to happen. They're going to be pumping heat into the dugouts for these players.
I wouldn't want to come out of the dugout. I'm just saying. Yeah.
But it just shows, they did everything right over there. And kudos to you guys over at Frontier. You should be very proud of that field. Canisius just got their new field built. They're over at their football field now has a baseball field that's there. I got a chance to see that the last couple days. Absolutely gorgeous turf that's out there. They've done a fantastic job. They added a press box too, so we should be able to go out there and call some games for Canisius. But you can see it's all over the place. We're seeing a new field come up. Maryville, how about their field that was just done? Like I said, I could go up and down all over the place. We've got new fields, and the theme is we're in Western New York. It's bad weather. It's time to turn over to turf.
Yeah, because we're not getting games in, right? And it's a short season.
Yep.
All right, so ECIC 2. This is Iroquois, Hamburg, Williamsville East, Amherst, West Seneca East, Will South, and Star Point. All right, so what are we looking at here? Iroquois is off to a 2-0 start in Hamburg. Let's start with Iroquois and what we expect from them this year, Tom.
Well, Iroquois definitely lost some big players, right? Cam Fuhr, Owen Silliman, and Matt Blair were 3 fantastic players. But I'm going to tell you something. Coach Snooze is ready to go, okay? He's got 3 big returning players. Evan Core and Trevor Marchese are 2 of the players, right? One he gains back he didn't have last year due to an injury. And both of you two probably recognize the name because he's big in hockey. And that is Braden Axelson.
Oh, yeah.
Okay? So this kid has got a gun. He is a number 1 pitcher in Western New York. If he gets him back, and then I already know what Evan could provide to that team also, I'll tell you this team's going to be just as dangerous as it was last year. You know, they really are going to be something. And Axelson is committed to play baseball for St. John Fisher. So he is ready to go on to play some baseball. And Evan will actually go to N-Trip is where he'll go. And I'll tell you, anybody that's going to commit to N-Trip is also a top player in this area because they have shown just how good they have taken players in this area and done some damage.
Yeah. How many times have they been to Nationals N-Trip? I mean, at least double digits.
Unbelievable what he's done there. You know, and ECC's doing the same type thing, right? Both those programs. I'm telling you, there is nothing bad about going to either one of those programs. Those JUCOs are phenomenal, and they will get you to an incredible school. I guarantee that, especially if you go out and produce results.
Absolutely, and you see it in basketball. I always tell people it doesn't matter where you start; it's where you finish. That's all people matters.
But listen, we talk about Iroquois, right? The other team is coming back as Player of the Year, right? Hamburg. We already know that Hamburg team has already started off hot already. They had a great time down in, I think it was South Carolina, where they went for their spring training. Derek Hill, though, returns Nolan Smith, our Player of the Year that got named, if you remember, this past year. David Conklin, James Simoncelli, Jacob Reese, and Braden McGuire. Loved one of the posts I saw that came out of Hamburg, right? One of the teams they saw down during their spring training said they were state champs. And they told Hamburg the story that the year before they had lost in the state championship and had to come back the following year to win it. And it was like, you could just see these Hamburg kids go, oh my God, that's us. That's what we need to do, right? And really help motivate them to see what they can do and hopefully make a run this year and try to do what they duplicated last year. But this time, take home a championship. But I'll tell you, they got a kid in Nolan Smith that can lead the way. That's going to be, I'm going to tell you, they're going to be a fun team to watch. We already talked about Iroquois. The West Seneca East team, another team that you're going to really see has been young the past year. Here's a great example, right, of what I've been talking about. West Seneca East is bringing up an 8th grader or bringing up a 9th grader to play. He was an 8th grader that played last year. Right?
Yeah.
So what does it tell you? But they're going to be led by Jeff Relevate. Jeff, I'm telling you, this kid, just an honorable, just an amazing kid. Center fielder, leadoff batter, huge speed. He'll bring a lot to the plate there to be able to be the leader for the West Seneca East team this year. They're also joined by Braden Delaney, Carson Saylor, Daniel Gospodarski, and Brady Murdoch and Gavin Page will be the players to watch out for. The young player I talked about, DJ Benker, will be the young player, the freshman that you'll see out there on that team. Star Point, always a team that's real tough. Andrew Hearn, Sean Duffy are some of your top players there. Aiden Case also in the mix there. Listen, Will East, another great team. They may be led by the kid that's going to compete for Player of the Year with Nolan Smith. That's Cooper Rosano. Cooper is all over the national stage right now. This kid's the real deal. He is no doubt going to be a tough out. He is no doubt the next big player to come out of Will East. That's another one that we've got to sit here and watch.
And that's
out
a Will East team that has a lot of history in terms of players coming out of there.
Yep, and he's also committed to the University of Albany. But Cooper Rosano, Carmen Panaro, Ryan Freiling, Brian Smith, Nason Wisniewski, Sean Sansone, and Michael Scioli are going to be your players that are going to be returning to that mix. I'm going to tell you, they were already 17-5 last year. Did lose a lot. They lost Stelrek. They lost Milk. They lost Valley, right? They did lose some there, but they had a big base still to come in. I think Will East is going to be another team. Just think about that. Iroquois, Hamburg, Will East, right? I mean, Star Point's always in the mix. Oh, now, don't forget about Will South. Don't forget about Amherst, right? Because they're all still in the mix. Will South, led by second-year head coach Travis Denman. He's going to return Cooper Sackle, Lucas Murty, Jack Krzyzanowski, Mike Munzer, Sean Munzer, and Nathan Allen. Lucas Mitri is also committed to go to Fredonia. And then to finish things off over at Amherst, Coach Brian Davis. Again, lost a lot of leadership there in Jack Foster, Brendan Kantz right there for his team, but his returning players, Grady Brown, CJ Hurley, Nathan Woots, Jaden Surratt, Caleb Nichols, and Patrick Zarneski are going to be your returning players there for a team that was 15-7 last year. But I'll tell you, this division is loaded. Loaded. Let me say that again. Loaded.
It always seems to be.
You know what I mean? Like, this is a real deal division, folks. And you're going to have, there isn't a day you're really taking off in this division. You're going to have a tough game every day, game in, game out.
Tom, speaking of tough divisions, I don't think you can go any farther. We have to talk about Monsignor Martin, led, of course, by St. Joe's, who've won, 4 of the last 10 Georgetown Cups. They made it to that state championship tournament last year, the Catholic State Championship Tournament. They're back this year with much of their core returning. But you also have Canisius, who we mentioned, has the new field, and they also bring back a decent core.
St. Joe's technically has a new field. St. Joe's just redid their field. The whole turf has been redone. The fencing has been redone. Dugouts were redone. So, technically St. Joe's has got a new field at the same time. Head coach Paul Naska, is going to have this team ready. Another player that will be in the mix for Player of the Year is sitting right there at St. Joe's. That's Anthony Greco right there. Anthony Greco, we've been talking about him since his sophomore year. Went through an injury kind of year last year a little bit. But I'll tell you, this kid's the real deal, folks. We're going to hear a lot about him this year. That lefty bat is really strong. But Greco, Busillo, Josh Eagle, Rob Anspaugh, Patrick Beyer, Brandon Parker, Travis Greco, Sean Connor, Derek Onovello. How many? That's returning players alone right there, right?
And more than half are already committed to playing in college?
And that's exactly it. You know what I mean? You're talking about, you've got, and not only that, but like strong programs too. Greco, we already know, is off to William & Mary, so he's one of the Division I commits. Onovello is going to D'Youville, Busillo to Fisher, Eagle to RIT, and then Anspaugh is going to play at the next level. We just haven't heard where he's going to be at. So I'll tell you, this right now, you got to say, is the team to beat. Now, there'll be other teams that have a say in this, right? No doubt Canisius always does every single year. And I also think St. Francis is going to be real strong this year, bringing back a top player in Brady Hill. Brady Hill, All-Western New York player last year, comes back, great bat, I'll tell you. Big kid, strong kid. This kid can do damage. If that bat gets hot, he could really be pivotal in that lineup. Another kid, Cal Banks, love this kid. Absolutely great kid. His brother is the Troy Banks that came out of Orchard Park. That's right now been playing in he was playing the Major League Baseball Developmental League out of Trenton. That's his younger brother right here. Ben Michalski, Nick Bianco, Aiden Trimper. Aiden will be huge for them on the mound this year. He will probably be, a pivotal piece to their success. And then Joe Panzarella. Joe, if you remember, came on strong during last year, was a kid that we were recognized constantly. This is a kid that really has got a strong bat. And this hitting team for St. Francis is going to be a real strong team. And they also add Noah Albano. Albano, another kid that really can help this team out tremendously. Also, Noah Wasura. Noah is a kid who has got a gun. Noah, young kid right there, will be able to be a big piece to this program for St. Joe's. But I really like what we're going to see. And Brady Hill's off to end trip. Ryan Hilton, who's another pitcher that will be pivotal for St. Joe's, he's off to Hilbert. And you could see this probably right there would be, two of the top teams right there that I think will be in the mix. No doubt Canisius will be right there. They're young, though. I think they're going to be one of those teams that will get stronger and stronger as the year come on. When you lose players like Tommy Lynch, Victor Mazzara, Drew Podless, and Gavin D'Amico, that's tough to go ahead and replace, and that's what Canisius is trying to do right now. Nichols, Brian over at Nichols, what a job he's been doing with that program, really starting to take it to the next level. He's got returning players in Zacher, Boscarino, Radomiski, Chambers, Ross Yoshida, Luke Kolpois, right? Jonah Wall. These are all kids that are returning to this team, and I'll tell you, Yoshida, Kolpois, Wall, all big players out there that are going to make an impact as younger players on this team that aren't seniors. I'll tell you, they're a young team that's going to really cause some havoc out there, and could be a team like West Seneca West that we talked about that could go in and steal a game here and there, especially from the upper teams inside that division. St. Mary's, Mike Wagner always is a coach that has his team ready. Jaden Ricks, Austin Dietz, Ryan Mariko, Tim Campbell, and Dylan Osinski will be your players to watch out for right there. And then Austin Dietz and Jaden Ricks are off to ECC is where they're going to be playing. And at Bishop Timon, we know Nick Galente real well. We also know his assistant coach, Jake Hartford, real well. 3-18, again, trying to build things up right there, but they're really trying to build a program and really get back into the mix of things. John Black, Brandon Gosling, Ian Wazlewski, Anthony Vaccaro, and Matt Coughlin will be your returning players right there for Bishop Timon. And then just last for Canisius, Justin Ball, your captain, Charlie Gill, your captain, Aaron Jones, Jameson Chalupka, and Triton Travali will be your key returning players. One of their players to watch out for, Caleb Jackson, big kid on the mound. Cooper Preisel, also another player to watch out for on this Canisius team, already making an impact on that team early on in the season.
So as we move on to the Niagara Frontier League, this is a pretty competitive league as well, right? I mean, there's a lot of tough teams. This was won, I believe, last year by Niagara Falls, right? Mm-hmm. They went 17-5 overall. So what, as we start with this league, Tom, we'll start with just Niagara Falls. It's a question I have because I have it right here. They got some key returning players. They won their league. What do they need to do to do it again? Is there going to be any competition? Someone to watch out as a dark horse in that league?
They need to replace Morgan Zanter, who was their top player last year, was a finalist for the Player of the Year for us for the Kolpois Barrows Cup. That's a tough replacement.
Yeah.
Right? He was a kid that was a number one pitcher out there for him, could hit bombs with the best of them. Tough replacement, right? When you're trying to have a kid that was a Player of the Year and replace that spot, you need to have somebody step up big. That's what Niagara Falls is looking to do. They've got some guys, though, that are ready to play at the next level. Jude Lowry is going to play at N-Trip. Dominic Hickok is going to play at Fredonia. Connor Bergstone is going to play also at Fredonia. But we'll see exactly, what comes into the mix. Lowry, Bergstone, Kennedy, and Hickok will be your players, though, to watch out for Niagara Falls. You say what's a team to
look out for?
Is Niagara Wheatfield. Every year, Niagara Wheatfield is a strong team. I mean, again, they were 12-4 and 14-6 last year. It wasn't like they were, a slacking team. Very good team. And they bring back some really big players in this. And wait till you hear some of the names on there. You'll all laugh because you've heard them before. But I love Ty Quickoff on the mound. This kid's got a gun. He's in the upper 80s right now throwing. And I'll tell you, he legit can be a number one out there and can really go out and shut things down. If he has the season what he's capable for, he could be talking about one of our people that will be up for Player of the Year. There's no doubt about it. But they've got, so listen to some of the new players to watch out for you. Sean Watson. Where do we know that from? Xander Fletcher. Right? Where do we know that from? Right? So obviously there are 3 sport athletes here that are coming out and playing here. But I'll tell you what we've seen time and time again from Niagara Wheatfield. Their strength comes in pitching. And I think we're going to see that again this year coming from them.
Is that really what it is in all the classes, just the strength in pitching? If you have pitching, it's going to make a big difference in the end because, 7 inning games, right? I have it right? Mm-hmm. So you need the depth, and it's going to make a difference because can you win the game 2-1, right? And a lot of teams have good pitching, they're going to win some games, and
well, why pitching is so important is because of the pitch counts that are associated with it. Right?
What's the pitch count again?
So it depends on the month. It depends on where we are. So to go through all of it would, I don't want to take that.
Of course.
But ultimately, what you're going to realize is if you pitch like a complete game, you're out for 4 days.
Yeah.
So you can't go to the mound for 4 days. So with that being said, is if you're shut down for 4 days, you could have 3 more games in 4 days.
Yeah.
What do you need to survive is you need a deep pitching staff. So that's exactly it. Now, you also know once you get to sectionals, it's a one and done scenario. So you better have a number one shut down pitcher when you need him to stand up to be able to close down a game.
You know what's interesting, Francis? So, guys, I watch the League World Series every year, even when I was a kid. I've been to Williamsport. I don't know if you've been there, Tom, but it's great. These teams that have success, that make it far, they have multiple pitchers, right? And it makes a big difference, not only just winning your first 2 games, but having multiple pitchers, and it just shows at the younger age and high school, having multiple pitchers is the key to success.
So real quick, we'll go through some of the other teams. North Tonawanda, led by Sam Heim, Ryan Donovan, who are both committed to play at the next level. Aiden Hayes, Aaron Samsil, Jacob Sills will be leading the way right there for North Tonawanda. Lockport, led by head coach Trait Smith right there, returns David Adams, Jared Berry, Joel Garcia, Jackson Hopkins, Aaron Nutila, Caden Krichniak, and Ryan McKinney will be your people that will be coming back right here. So, I love what they wrote in as their additional information. Teams working very hard after losing in the bottom of the 7th inning last season to Will East on a 3-2 count home run. That's sitting there, right? But obviously, this was a positive for Lockport that's taken right there, where their set is, how do we get better? And they've done it in the offseason right now. And they've had a great offseason right here that I'm excited to see what this Lockport team's going to bring to the table. Lewiston Porter, led by Coach Mark Waple, Vinny Carlo, David Pavan, Nate Halgash will be your players right there that are returning. Ethan Whitehead, Quinn Walton, and Matt Adamson will be your players to watch out for. Remember, Lewiston Porter made it to the sectional championship last year, lost a heartbreaker in that one. They're looking to get back and make things happen right there in their neck of the woods. Ken West, led by Coach John Hayes, new player to watch out for, Nick Argenio, Reed Lesmeister, Jackson Amon, Nolan Nobile, and Nolan Mitchell are your players to watch out for Ken West. Ken East, Coach Leslie Simon. He returns Dominic Gerling, Jake Willard, another name you recognize as he's the big bowler out there for Kenmore East. Mm-hmm. Jack Isbrandt, new players to watch out for, Bryce Thomas, Patrick Molnar, Ethan Goodman, and David Land. And then Grand Island, Coach Dean Santorio always has a strong team. Great coach out there. Braden Willets, Dylan Novak, Jackson Fry, Hunter Hall, Nathan Van Norman, Carson Page, Riley Masterman. And then listen to this, new player to watch out for, 8th grader Nick Aiello.
Francis, what are your thoughts on an 8th grader?
And here, I'm going to blow you even more. 8th grader, DH, first baseman.
Wow. So, first baseman, he's got to be a big kid, right? You know,
That's what you got.
You don't put a
That was
scrawny
what
kid
I
out
would
there.
think, right? So just to show, right? I
Yeah.
mean, this kid's already showing, you know, he could play up at that level. So, and CSAT returning players: Colby Smith, Matt Flores, Jomar Henderson, James Lord, Zazander Taylor, and Shane Ramirez will wrap out the NFL.
All right, on that note, we'll take a quick break. When we come back, we're going to talk more baseball. We're going to start, head down to the southern tier, talk about Chautauqua County Division I. You're watching High School Sports Saturday on WNY Athletics.
Western New York Immediate Care's new locations are now open. Whether you've suffered a minor injury or just aren't feeling well, Western New York Immediate Care provides safe, quick, high-quality care at an affordable cost. Our clinicians are trained to diagnose and treat non-life-threatening injuries and illnesses and are equipped with on-site x-ray and labs to help you feel better, faster. With 4 convenient locations open 7 days a week, Western New York Immediate Care is here to help when and where you need us. Visit us online to learn more.
Logistics Plus is a global transportation provider headquartered in Erie, PA, with locations worldwide, including right here in Western New York. Logistics Plus is consistently recognized as a fast-growing transportation and logistics company, great supply chain partner, top freight broker, leading project cargo manager, and a great place to work. With a strong passion for excellence, our 500-plus employees put the plus in logistics. Call our Buffalo office today for an efficient, personal approach for all of your transportation needs.
When you're ready to buy a home, start your search at howardhanna.com. You'll be the first to see new listings, find similar properties, and connect with a local Howard Hanna agent. Get started today at howardhanna.com.
Welcome back, High School Sports Saturday. We're talking the Diamond. Let's get back into baseball. Jump right into CCAA 1 division. It's with big division here: Olean, Dunkirk, Jamestown, Fredonia, Southwestern, Allegheny Limestone, Gowanda, and Falconer. Tom, a big division. Break it down for us.
This is loaded, right? I mean, this really is. This is loaded, this division. This is, very similar to what we talked about in ECIC 2, but now you're talking about it down in the southern tier. That's just a difference of where they're located. But, let's start with Gowanda, Coach Tim Smith. John Ondas, Blake Herman, Cole Herman, Tyler Smith, Alex Puchinski are your players that are returning for that team. They're looking to compete for their 4th straight sectional championship. They've got a Division I player commit in John Ondas, will be going off to Niagara University. And I'll tell you, this is a real team. And then Cole Herman is also off to Muskingum University is where Cole's going to play. This team, though, I'm telling you, they really are loaded. Olean, another team out here who's off to a fast start. And they're led by Coach Les DeGolier, Thomas Bass, Aaron Vincent, Cal Votil, Lucas Brushingham will be your key players to watch out for. These guys are also off to a crazy first start here in Olean. They're off. They were 10-7 last year, looking to improve on that this year, and they got a nice core coming back that I really like what you're going to see at Olean. Olean had a weird scenario to start off last year where the whole spring break thing really hurt them, and the whole COVID thing, you know what I mean? Like, there were so many things that worked against them that I really think this could be a big year for that Olean team coming back. Southwestern, who will be a part of our West New York Athletics Day, come 15-4. They lose a major player in Aiden Kennedy, but Lucas Gilbert, Jamison Walsh, Dustin Hendricks, and Judd Harris will lead the way. And but they've got a pitching staff of 6 players on this Southwestern team, and that's going to be something that we talked about. That's big. It really is. That will be key to these players and be able to get them off to a fast start. And hopefully when you get into the thick of things where we're playing almost every single day in there, that they're going to be right there in the mix. Fredonia, Tim Cowan, your head coach out there, Owen Rush, Matt Cash, Micah Davis, right? Nathan Serku and Andrew Cowan are going to be huge to this team as key players returning. Ashton Putney, Matt Cohen, Colin Crowell, and Brady Helmer will be your new players to watch out for. They actually took their first spring break trip. So, and I think those are pivotal to the success of any team out there in Western New York, just to be able to get those bats flowing and really get things started on a season. Fredonia now coming into the mix and being one of those teams who really is going to kick things off. Allegheny Limestone, led by Coach Eric Hemphill, Andrew Giardini, Sean Conroy, Gavin Truman, Eric Furlong, and Caleb Strade will be your key returning players right there. Dunkirk, led by Coach Frank Jacoda right there, who also is playing in our Western New York Athletics Day. Dylan Bankowski, Greg Orcott, Anthony Cosme, and Josh Lemansky will be your new players to watch out for. Brady Corbett, Tyler Karen, Zach Zentz, and Donnie Jackson will be your key returning players right there. Dunkirk lost 5 players, all playing JUCO this year. Unbelievable out there. You want a good one here? Coach Jacoda has coached no less than 50 players who have gone on to play college baseball.
Wow.
Falconer had a rough season last year. They returned Dalton Caldwell. New players to watch out for, Eric Stenstrom and Josh Holmberg for them. Jamestown will be led by returning players Brandon Lobb, Colin Melendez, John Torres, Eric Bloomquist, Michael Boren, Darius Freeney, and Sean O'Brien, some of those football players that we have talked about time and time again. I think I covered all the teams right there, right? Southwestern, Olean, Jamestown, Gowanda, Fredonia, Falconer, Dunkirk, and Allegheny Limestone.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
So as we move to ECIC3, this is actually pretty interesting if you notice it. A lot of these teams have played at least 3 games. You can't see that in every one that we saw here, but Depew at 3-0, Maryville's played 5 games, East Shores 5, Pioneers 4, Lackawanna 4, Cheektowaga 4. Only Lakeshore has played 2 games. So ECIC 3, Tom, Depew's gotten off to a good start. What are we looking at from this league?
They're loaded in pitching right there. I mean, he comes back with maybe even a stronger pitching staff than he had last year for Dennis, as they're looking to repeat. I mean, between Tulin and Woodley, right? He's got Kanik. All these pitchers can go to the round. He really is going to be deep on the pitching staff, and he's already showing that early on in the game with the wins that he's had out there. I definitely like what we're going to see here for Depew. Cheektowaga is going to be led by Matt Barr, their quarterback, and I'll tell you, this kid's got a gun. And remember we talked about some of the things? He had a 13 strikeout performance already, right? So you remember what we said? I said, you're going to hear about 15 and say, here's 13. Here's one of them already. But we're going to be hearing about some more of these great pitching performances that we'll be recognizing. But no doubt this team will be led by Matt Barr and can go as far as he can take them, especially when he's out there on the mound.
How many innings will he pitch in a game when he's out there?
Depends. Pitches. It's not
Pitches.
innings.
That's right, pitches. So it depends on how. If he's throwing guys 13 strikeouts in a game, it means he's not going through his pitches that quick, which helps you in the long run of the game, right?
Say that again?
Well, if you're getting 13 strikeouts, normally you would see maybe quick strikeouts, right? Or not necessarily. So maybe his pitch count would be lower, which he could last longer in a game. As what I'm trying to say.
Not necessarily. You know what I mean? It really depends on our other guys getting around on, getting on base around those strikeouts.
Yeah.
Do you have walks that are associated with it? That's going to get your pitch count that's up high. So now, East Aurora will be led by Alex Ramfola, Patrick Bodecker, Dylan Austin, Eric Kramer, Their big loss will be Raymond Wojcik, who was one of our finalists for Player of the Year last year on the mound, that they're going to need to replace. They're going to do that by committee, I think, this year. Well, you'll see those different guys that we talked about there going to the mound. Dylan Austin will be a big player for these guys out there, no doubt about it. Lackawanna will return Logan Wall, Ian Ike. Dalton Cantian will be a returning player right there. Lakeshore new head coach Zachary Marshall right there will be the new head coach. Aiden Stiles, Brian Guest, Shane Friend, and Carter Sterner right there will be your returning players. I think we got everybody.
All right, so that'll bring us then to our next
Oh,
one.
no, we don't. I apologize. We forgot about Maryville. We forget about Maryville. Returning one of the top players that will be probably in the mix for Player of the Year also in Dalton Harper. Dalton Harper, who is just unbelievable. This kid is a catcher. He'll be off to Georgia Southern, another Division I commit. Josh Magda will be off to Hilbert. Justice Hill plays for this team. Will be off to Edinburgh. He'll play football is where he's going to be out into the mix. Hunter Murphy, Josh Magda, Alex Havernick, Nick Jacobs will be your returning players right there, which will have a big impact on this season. Listen, this is going to be how deep their pitching is. That's always what we talk about here. Dalton will come out behind the dish and will pitch to be able to help this team out also. But this Maryville team, no doubt, will be dangerous. And when we get to some of the matchups like Maryville, Depew, that's going to be a fun one. Pioneer is going to be another team that's going to be in the mix right here. Ethan Warner, Zach Carter, Cole Rodas, Dalton Morgan are going to be some of your returning players that are going to be big right here. Pioneer always strong. And you know why they're so strong? It's exactly what we talked about as far as Dave Bunsey was a part of building the Little League program down there in Arcade. And that Little League program has turned into a very strong program. And because of what he started down there, now it's transformed into what he's got at the high school level. But it's because of what he built and took the time in down at the youths.
So let's jump a little north to the Niagara Orleans League, which I think you'd have to say at this point is probably Medina is the favorite, but they're losing some key pieces. No, you don't think so?
I think your favorite's going to go out to Roy Hart in this one.
Okay.
And you've got possibly your another player of the year out there with Roy Hart. I mean, Thomas Russo is that good. He's that good, you guys. This kid is a number one pitcher out there that can go down and completely shut down just about anybody. He will be this pitcher that we're going to be talking about. We're going to be hearing a lot about this season. And he's off to play Canisius, another Division I commit, right? Russo, Braden High, Ethan Kuzma, Dawson Draper, and Jake Gould will be a part of that staff right there. But I'm going to tell you, watch out. This Roy Hart team is legit. Now, I'm not saying Medina's not going to be in the mix, right? What I am saying is, though, remember, you got to look at sometimes matchups that are one-game matchups, and they have a number one pitcher that can do it. But Medina does bring back a number one themselves, right? Medina absolutely will have their own form of a number one pitcher, and that comes in Aiden Paul. And Aiden Paul has done it, been able to do it at the best level also. So Aiden Paul and you see matching up with Roy Hart, that is going to be a fun matchup to see Russo and Paul go head to head. I'll tell you, that's like got star power written all over it.
And they've had a couple of those pitchers duels over the past few years.
Oh, absolutely, right? And Roy Hart Medina. I'll tell you, when I first started this, one of the best games I did was a 1-0 game between them. You know, it was and phenomenal, really was. So Aiden Paul, Julian Woodworth, Brody Fry, Richard Kepler, and Tyler Croning will be your key returning players right there for Medina. And Aiden Paul is going to play at N Trip next year. Akron also coming out strong right now behind Coach Bell. Andrew Romesser, Dawson Stone, Vincent Consiglio, Tony Consiglio, and Aiden Romesser and Jack Julicher will be your returning players right there for them. Albion will be led by Amari Jones, Javon Jones, Dallas Ecker. We know a lot of that out there on the football side of things. Amari Jones is committed, but he is committed to play football, and he'll be playing at Edinburgh. And Javon Jones is committed to play football, but at Brockport.
We saw what those guys did in the football field.
Yeah, but baseball's a different game. So let's see. We got to see how that plays out.
If they can bring some kind of, if they're able to bring some kind of that success to Albion, they're going to have.
Albion's always had. Listen, Albion has been putting out Division I players the last couple of years. Like, Albion's had a very strong team the last couple of years. So obviously, if they're key returning players, that they're going to be a huge help to that team out there.
And when you've had players that have gone on to college, I mean, they're starting to get noticed. Albion's not a big school, right? So if you're bringing out, not only maybe JUCO college, players, but, college players that are going to play other sports, these schools are noticing them and they're coming back because they're having some success.
So Barker will be led by J.J. Prine, Isaac Monaco. Newfane will be led by Ben Dickerson, Josh Schneider, Jonathan Beater, Aiden Perry, Caden Ross, and Braden Seitz right there for Newfane. Wilson, led by Coach Bill Atlas right there. Key returning players, Tyler Johnson, Connor Erst, Drew Dable. New players to watch out for, Casey Sidote, Blake Martin, and Aiden Winslow. Their big loss definitely will be Luke Atlas from last year. And I think we covered it. Yep.
All right, so CCAA 2. All right, so this is a Frewsburg, CSP, Chautauqua Lake, Brockton, Maple Grove, Pine Valley, Westfield, Cassadaga Valley. Frewsburg's 4-2 overall, 2-0 in the league, tied with CSP, so they both have played 2 games. Just about everyone other than Westfield and Cassadaga Valley have played 2 league games. So what are your thoughts on this league?
I think you're going to need to watch out for CSP in this one. They're going to be really strong. They're led by Gabe Roth, Austin White, Trent Burchanowski. They're going to be absolutely. They come off a 17-2 season is what they come off of. Chautauqua Lake, we just talked about it in their big game that we just saw, led by Coach Matt Cummings. Nate Henry, Devin Hughes, Clayton Smith will be your key players to watch out for. Nolan Olson is the new player. For Brockton, Rob Federick, this is a guy who's been trying to build that program back up. He's going to finally see some of these real young players with that have some years underneath them at the varsity level. Caden Emke, Aiden Gatto, Michael Garcia, Damian Franklin, Grant Gustafson, and Nate Laredo will be your key returning players right there. For Frewsburg, your key returning players, Peyton Dustin, Garen Brink, Chase Hagland, Mason Ekman, and Vinny Sanfilippo. Your new players to watch out for, Harrison Eckert, Caleb Stallman, Mason Lobb, Aiden Gruber, Maddox Cheesley, Cole Mazurko, Daniel Peterson, and Trent Lewis right there. For Maple Grove, Colden McCall, Colin McPherson, Aiden Brinsky, and Connor Regal will be your key players to watch out as they come off a 10-3 season last year. And then for Pine Valley, Craig Howard, Darren Westland, George Kruska, Kyle Chase, Jaden Miller, Brandon Ewers, and Nick Gleason will lead the way for Pine Valley this year.
Does that wrap up the division? All right, we'll take a short break. When we come back, we're going to finish off baseball. We have ECIC 4, CCAA 3, and the Buffalo Public School Division. So we'll get into that. And then softball is coming up after that. So softball fans, don't go anywhere. We'll be talking about you guys soon. You're watching High School Sports Saturday on WNY Athletics.
Western New York Immediate Care's new locations are now open. Whether you've suffered a minor injury or just aren't feeling well, Western New York Immediate Care provides safe, quick, high-quality care at an affordable cost. Our clinicians are trained to diagnose and treat non-life-threatening injuries and illnesses and are equipped with on-site x-ray and labs to help you feel better, faster. With 4 convenient locations open 7 days a week, Western New York Immediate Care is here to help when and where you need us. Visit us online to learn more.
Logistics Plus is a global transportation provider headquartered in Erie, PA with locations worldwide, including right here in Western New York. Logistics Plus is consistently recognized as a fast-growing transportation and logistics company, great supply chain partner, top freight broker, leading project cargo manager, and a great place to work. With a strong passion for excellence, our 500-plus employees put the plus in logistics. Call our Buffalo office today for an efficient, personal approach for all of your transportation needs.
When you're ready to buy a home, start your search at howardhanna.com. You'll be the first to see new listings, find similar properties, and connect with a local Howard Hanna agent. Get started today at howardhanna.com.
Being home.
Welcome back, High School Sports Saturday. We're hitting the diamond today, talking baseball and softball. Final 3 divisions coming up now for baseball, Tom. Let's get started. ECIC 4.
Boy, we've been going here, huh?
We're making up for last week because we didn't have a show.
Oh, okay. So I'm trying to make it all up right now. Right? So we're going to start with Alden right there. Nick DePolius, John Weglarski, David Earsing, Owen Jankowski, and Riley Street will be your key returning players for there. Cleve Hill and Coach Michael Hamner will have Tanner Betts, Shane Brannigan, Kyle Camp, Mason Hart, Preston Johnson, Zach Phillips, Oliver Tadus, Colin Whalen, and Ralph White, your key returning players right there. Eden and Coach Eric Cooper will return Peyton Kozalak, Noah Panic, and Connor Baker. And new player to watch out for is Tyler Shunk right there. Noah Panic will actually be playing at the next level at Fredonia is where he'll be going to. Holland returns Dax Bengert, Jack Brown, Nolan Smith. Very young team, only 2 senior starters for Holland. Like I said, it's been a theme you've been hearing all about throughout Western New York. JFK returns Max Horner, Connor Sprada, Vic Borowak, and then new players to watch out for, Peyton Skikorski, Hayden Zazwiak, and Andrew Pajic. Springville, Coach Joel Lux, who just had one of their first trips back down to Florida. He's got key returning players in Hunter Runzer, Tanner Lux, Nick Gold, and Matt Delisandro. And new player to watch out for, Grant Michalski for Springville. And then for Tonawanda, Coach Jordan McGregor will return Casey Wright, Josh Warthling, and Markel Whitman. And new player to watch out for will be Josh Belcom. He actually lost his entire outfield, so he's looking to replace an outfield out there for this season. So Springville's been a strong team coming out of here. I think you're going to see Springville be strong again for another season. And we'll just kind of see. Alden, 11-3, comes off a great season. We'll see if they can match that. They had some key losses with Johnny Watson and Eden Hart last year, so we'll see if they can make up for some of those losses. This should be a fun division because I think there'll be a lot of teams that we can see step up. The question is who's going to be the key to step up and be able to match some of the teams that are out there this season.
CC, you want to move on to the next one?
Yeah.
All right, so we'll go to 3. Portville won this league last year, 20-1. You know, just looking at some of the numbers, 199 runs scored last year, 45 against. So they're coming off, winning the league last year. Salamanca's gotten off to a good start. They're 3-0. They went 12-8 last year. How's CCAA 3 looking?
Well, again, Portville lost a Division I player in Max Yao, right? And that's a lefty pitcher stud, unbelievable player that, they lost. And they've got to replace some of that pitching. They're still going to be very, very strong. Portville will be in the mix still as a very strong team down there in this division. But we talk about some of the other teams. Cattaraugus, Little Valley will return Peyton Bradley, Nate Wolf, Braden Young, Camden Young in this one. New player to watch out for, DJ Cesada for them. Ellicottville should be a very strong team again. Hunter Smith, Caden Wyatt, Braylon Wyatt, and then their new player to watch out for, freshman Cameron Mendel. They seem to have a really athletic lineup this year. Good team speed. It'll just see how long the pitching is going to be able to hold up for them. Again, what we talk about from year to year with any of these teams. Franklinville will be led by Brenton Bleacha, Matthew Spittler, Isaiah Town, Bilecki, and Noah Shank. New players to watch out for, Brady Tatlow and Nick Hillman in that one. North Collins, led by Coach Scott Gill. Derek Ebersol and Matthew Warsaw will be your key returning players, and Scott Armburster will be your new player to watch out for in this one. Randolph will return Peyton Slade, Kyle Sen, Tristan Farnham, Dylan Schrader, Eliel Bryan, and Mike Bohill, with new players to watch out for Wyatt Weaver, David Malone, Connor Braley, and Hunter Flood. And Dylan Schrader's off to JCC next year. For Salamanca, Greg Herrick, your head coach, Jackson Ross, Jake Herrick, Andy Herrick, Jerron Tucker will be your key returning players. Corey Holleran and Jackson Tarr will be your new players to watch out for. The Hull brothers will be a big loss right there down in Salamanca. And then Silver Creek, another team we've talked about, no doubt will be led by Aiden Piccolo, Sean Kelly, Cam Sackpaul, Brayson Parcell, and Caleb Fiegel. A new player to watch out for, Matt Wolbun, will be your new player to watch out for. They have a key loss. Their catcher, Gavin Barella, Division I catcher that went off to the University of Albany, will be one of their key losses that they're looking to make up for. Westfield, led by head coach Dan Martin, Carter Russo, Aaron Fuller, Dan Bratton, and then new players to watch out for, Joel Steen and Trent Ram for Westfield. And that pretty much covers right there your CCAA 3 division.
And Tom, just a quick question before Francis goes to the next one. So teams have a tough year. You know, what are the chances they rebound the next year with more experience? Like, so you have a down 2022. 2023 is a new year. We talked about Amber, right? You know, each year is different. We see with the top teams, you know, the success continues. But the teams that have a tough year, what are the chances they get better next year where their record improves because of more experience? Or is it not always a given?
It's not always a given. Again, depends where your experience comes from, right? Do you have a deep enough pitching staff? Did you get the experience on the mound, right? Did those kids get bigger, stronger, faster over the winter like they needed to do? Those are all things that need to play out. And it really has to be is what's that offseason look like? And were you throwing 75 miles an hour, right, at the time last year? Are you throwing 80 miles an hour now? Yeah, it'll equate to more wins and more things. Or did you stay exactly the same?
So, Tom, let's jump into our last division. Even though it's connected to, we'll just get it. We'll do both of them together. Buffalo Public Schools, a lot of teams in there. Tom, let's get started.
Yeah, no doubt the team we're going to be talking the most about all season is going to be City Honors, right? Coach McMahon, what he's doing with City Honors is phenomenal. He really is. And his key loss will be Quinn Mahoney right out there. But listen, Xavier Mann is a real deal and could be a player that could come out of Buffalo we could be talking about as a player of the year type candidate. He's going to go to Lenore Rhine is where he's going to play his baseball, which is Division II is what I'm pretty sure is a Division II baseball. But this kid is just unbelievable. So you're going to be talking about Xavier Mann, Nathaniel Gilbert, new players to watch out for, Dean Tripp and Julius Pettit. But I'll tell you, Coach McMahon, since he's taken over that program, has really changed the mindset right there of baseball, and he has just done a phenomenal job out there, and he's challenging them outside the division is what I really like, to really so that he can go and make some runs in sectionals. But great job by Coach McMahon. Hutch Tech will have Julian Roman and Nate Mulligan, and new player to watch out for, Ricardo Valdez. Burgard, Coach Michael Marr, led by his key returning players, Javier Diaz, Kenneth Colin, new player to watch out for, Adam Jones and Andrew Lundo. And then for Hutch Tech, key returning players, Julian Roman, Nate Mulligan, and new player to watch out for, Ricardo Valdez. McKinley will actually have Alex Timoneri, Janetti Gonzalez, Luis Soto, and Yenel Martinez as your key returning players, and Nick Golden is new player to watch out for. Olmsted will return Griffin Padwara, Kier Bishop, new players to watch out for. William Cambria, Joe Platt, James Siller, and Sam Campbell. South Park will return Raul Matos, Adam Wakowski, new players to watch out for. Ready? Noah Willoughby, Giovanni Rivera, two big football players right there that we're going to be talking about. So there's your Division 1, and then Division 2, Lafayette. Key players returning, Alejandro Malav, Ivan Colon. Lafayette will return Alejandro Malav and Ivan Colon. Emerson will return Devin Edwards and Ibrahim Rodriguez. IPrep will return Alejandro Malev and Diego Carmona, who's a new player to watch out for. MST, Jaquan Rosenthal and Jama Mohammed will be your key returning players. New player to watch out for, Shah Alvi. Riverside, new player to watch out for, Chandler Clark. And that is your right there, Buffalo.
All right, that'll wrap up baseball. Coming up next, we're going to talk about softball and the top teams. There are a lot of great teams coming back, so we'll take a look at that. You're watching High School Sports Saturday on WNY Athletics.
Sometimes it just isn't your day. We all need a little help from time to time. That's why we're committed to providing safe, quick, and cost-effective care. And we keep it simple. Just walk in. We're here for you. Learn more today.
Do you insure a lot of businesses?
Yes, we do.
How about restaurants?
We got a bunch.
Do you cover property damage?
Yes, we do.
How about my equipment?
Covered.
How about sewer backup?
We got it.
What if my cook gets hurt?
They're covered.
Foodborne illnesses?
Covered.
What if my party tent goes down?
Covered under property damage.
And you say this is all under one policy?
One policy.
When do I pay?
Once a month.
Just one time?
Just one.
Is there anything you don't cover?
What's your record for consecutive questions asked?
31.
Tables. We don't do tables.
Gotta love Buffalo.
For all your insurance questions, call the Wolf at 835-WOLF.
We realize now more than ever is the perfect time to have the perfect house. We're confident we'll find your dream home. Howard Hanna. Home happens here.
Welcome back, High School Sports Saturday. We're going to get started with softball. Tom, I'll start. Right now, we'll go with Buffalo. We have a couple teams that turned in there. We don't have all their questionnaires, and we have most of them. We'll start with, we're going to start with ECIC 1. I'm going crazy here. ECIC 1. So let's start with West Seneca West, led by Coach Ashley Bonetto. Went 9-10 last year. Key returners: Ariana Giola, pitcher; Michaela Hosar, Bella Christopher, Sharon Coughlin at shortstop.
You know, now it's funny too. What we got to realize with softball is, we talked about the need for pitching depth for baseball. You don't need pitching depth for softball, right? One pitcher can be a lead pitcher and pitch every single game.
If you have two, that's a luxury.
Absolutely. In fact, sometimes it's tough on a coach, because if it's 1 and 1A, like, when do you throw them, right? How do you get the other one work? Or what about if it's my stud is a senior and my next player is a sophomore and I got to get that sophomore some work? How do I find the right space? How do I find the right time? A lot of that comes in necessary for it to be able to play or let's go there.
All right, next we'll go to Lancaster. They're led by Samantha Ping.
First-year coach, too.
Yeah, first-year coach. Last year went 8-2. I believe they're coming off, state final appearance? State semifinal appearance?
Yep.
They return Francesca Morris, Carly Sarkouris, Eleanor Park, Isabella Domino, and Brianna DeWald. So they come back. New player, of course.
Two Division I commits right there.
Yeah.
2 Division I commits. Park off to St. Bonaventure, Morris off to Niagara University. That's big. 2 Division I commits right there on Lancaster's team.
And although we can't talk about Lancaster, talk about their losses. Of course, Maddie Bulk, who went to Florida State, and then you have Caitlin Romanowski and Brooke Ferris. Orchard Park, led by Brittany Schuberhorn, went 12-5 last year overall, 10-2 in ECIC 1. Key returners: sophomore Ava Ferreira, Evelyn Wisnowski, Ella Sheehan, catcher. She's a catcher. I'm sorry. Ella McMullen, Ella Stewart, and Kaylee Vandercourt.
Now, Ava Farina is going to be their pitcher. Now, this was a little bit of last year what they had, right? They had Maddie Cavelli right there as their pitcher, main one who was off to Cornell, and waiting in the wings right now has been Ava Farina as the freshman, needing to get some time. She's got some work. This girl's legit. Watch out. And again, we've got some more Wozniak off to Fairfield, another Division I, right? You got Stewart off to Oneonta, and Valancourt, who's off to Clarion, Division II right there. So, again, some more big commits right there from Orchard Park.
All right, next we're going to talk about Clarence, led by Coach Todd Bazanzik. Key players returning: Ella Zobel, Ella Harrison, Sam Plazewski, and Maddie Ferreter.
This, to be honest with you, I think it could be the Clarence and Orchard Park as two the top teams with Lancaster in the mix. This is going to be a fun division to watch. No doubt, Todd's incredible as a coach right here. He's really built a fantastic program, and he will be right there. We'll be seeing him in the mix with Orchard Park and Lancaster.
Next, we'll go to Williamsville North, led by, of course, Michelle Switzer. They are returning key players, Ayla Johil, and Natalie Burke, both key players for their team last year who were, named all-stars really last year.
Well, Joel was ECIC 1 Player of the Year, right? So that shows you something right there. Just shows, you know what I mean? And that came off, take a look at, came off a record of 8-13, too.
Yeah.
Just shows you how good of a player she really is then, right? So this should be really, fun to see. And Coach Switzer is another top coach here in Western New York. Love what she brings to the table. And, again, we'll see if she can start turning that record around. It'll start competing up with Clarence, Orchard Park, and Lancaster as the top teams out there. But remember, West Seneca West, too, I don't want to downplay them. First time in what was it? First time their program ever made it to the A finals. Because remember, West Seneca West will play up in ECIC 1 and then drop to Division A for the sectionals.
And the other team that is doing that, like baseball, is Sweet Home. They're led by Coach Crystal Carlson. Went 7-10 last year. They return Avery Guam, Maddie Adams, and Olivia Weissenberg. So Sweet Home, West Seneca West, we mentioned, both playing up in this division, and then we'll play in Class A against more ECIC 2 teams in the postseason.
It's funny. We talk about what on the baseball side, what Coach Helmbrick has done for West Seneca West has been unbelievable. And I think him playing up in ECIC 1, right, has really helped his team make these runs and do the things he's wanted to do in the playoffs for the A sectionals. And guess what? You're seeing the same thing happen right here on the flip side with West Seneca West, right? Coach Benetto, no doubt, is doing the same exact thing. And that tough schedule is what helped her make that exact run.
All right, Tom, let's jump to ECIC 2 then. We'll get started. West Seneca East, they're led by Coach Donnie Beckner. They're led by pitcher Olivia Russ, along with Matt Miranda Zip. Next up is
but another Division I commit. I don't want to leave that out, right? Yeah. I mean, listen, you're talking about two sports that really can lead the way and commit to the Division I level. We make a big deal out of it when it comes from the basketball side, right? Or when it comes from the football side for the boys. Guess what? The boys and the girls here for baseball and softball show they do this time and time again. And Olivia Russ will be off to play Division I at the University of Buffalo.
All right, next up we'll talk about Hamburg out of ECIC 2, led by Coach Rich Madison. They're led by Samantha Morlock, Avery Lyons, Abigail Burkholtz, and Nellie Doyle.
And Hamburg will be part of our lineup for our Western New York Athletics Day, which will be both baseball, softball, and Hamburg will be joining us as they'll be taking on Niagara Wheatfield in that matchup.
Next up, the Iroquois Chiefs, led by Coach Aaron Vanderlip. Key returning players, Olivia Byer, Maddie Gibby, Alexa Chiramonte, Morgan Kuznick, Megan Nitos, Alex Robillard, Mackenzie Kelly, and Brooklyn Bakazutsky.
Again, another team last year that was in the sectional finals, right? Lost a heartbreaker to Grand Island. This team is always a strong team. Coach Vanderlip will have this team ready. He's got a nice mix of veterans with some youth that's coming into the program. I really like what Iroquois should be a very tough team and a tough out again this season.
All right, next we'll go to Williamsville South, led by the, of course, legendary Julie Murphy, of the famous daughter of Jerry Gentner. Key players for this team are Gia Ganji, along with I'm having trouble seeing these names. Gia Ganji, along with Olivia Sackle and Emma Siegman.
Lexi Quagliani also.
All right, after and then
Listen,
we'll go.
they're going to live and die right there by Gia.
Yes.
Gia, and listen, I say that tongue in cheek, right? But Gia's that good, okay? We've seen her on the mound. We've seen her carry this team. We saw them make the run they did last year, and they did it behind this pitching performance of Gia. Gia is off to play at Denison, is where she's going to play softball next year. And I'll tell you right now is I loved what we saw from her. She's a gamer. She's somebody you want on the mound. And I can't wait to see what she does and be able to duplicate what she did last year.
All right, then we have Star Point, led by Joe Hill, coach, and their two key returning players, Emily Pasquale and Anna Solar, both of them all-stars from last year.
Yeah, but they lose Bailey Briggs, Division I commit, right to Rutgers is one of their big ones. Young team, right? Listen to this. 5 sophomores, 3 freshmen, and an 8th grader will be representing that team this year.
Amherst, led by Coach Mike Chattel. Tough year last year, but they return Ada Radomski, Neela Becker, and Nicole Miller. And then you have to wrap up ECIC2, Williamsville East, led by, and their coaching staff, led by a bunch of really good alumni. Head coach Brianna Clark. You have Abby Kowalski, who's in the modified right now, Danielle Stockman, who's going to be joining the program soon, and then Brianna Clark, who is a former player. She'll be joining once her college season's over. So a good coaching staff there, and of course they're always loaded. They return Emily Wendt, Ella Wisniewski, who's already committed to play. Wizolowski, Elise Elwood, Ophia Comerford, Shannon Porzgala, Alexis Willick, Abby Wazolowski. I know I said that wrong. Gwen O'Connell. So
first time you did. That time you got it right.
Oh, that I did. Again, Will East always loaded, always putting out Division I talent.
I mean, Ella will be up for Player of the Year. There's no doubt about it. I mean, she is legit. What she does behind the plate is just magical to watch. It really is. She's got an incredible bat. She knows how to handle, a pitching staff. There's a reason she's going to play Division I baseball or softball at Mississippi State. She is something. We could be talking about her not only being a Player of the Year. She could be one of those ones where you could be talking about as like a New York State Player of the Year. That's the kind of player she's capable of being.
All right, let's head down to the Southern Tier. CCAA East 1. We'll start with Gowanda, led by Coach Mike Baloney. 18-6 last year. They're going to be led by Addison Coda, Jada Geiger, Holland Browning, Ella Luther, Wasi Stevens, and Lily Bobsine. Let's see. This is Coach Maloney's first year as head coach for Gowanda. Next, we have Pine Valley, led by Coach Ben Westland. Went 6-8 last year. They're going to be led on the field by Ashley Campbell and Danica Farnham. Next, you have Randolph, led by Coach Jeff Olson, and key players returning Kendall Stewart, Kyra Pence, Harper Smith, Sadie Stewart, and Abigail Pitts. Of course, we know Randolph went to the state finals for basketball. Of course, we know Kira was one of the leaders on that team, so I'm sure they'll be trying to carry over some of that success to the Diamond.
Oh, no doubt. And Kendall Stewart will be looking to play at the next level at Alfred University, as well as for at Alfred University is where she's looking to play at the next level.
Next up, Forestville, the Hornets, led by Coach Brianna Hazelton, went 3-9 last year, but they returned Megan Gruber, Jade Wark, Lauren Pierce, and Kaylee Grupa. And finally, our last team in CCAA1 East, you have the Silver Creek Black Knights, led by Justin Serene. Going to be led this year by Kaylee Hutchinson, Amber Lockwood, Lainey Olson, Riley Lawton, and Caitlin Rice.
Yeah, so you could see this is a division that you saw, pretty much Gowanda and Randolph were the leaders in the division last year. And you'll see is now you got these other teams that are looking to get stronger, like Silver Creek. Can they come up and match up there now? Who will be the team that kind of takes over the lead right here in the CCAA East 1, or Chautauqua County Athletic Association East 1?
All right, before we take our break here, let's go over CCAA East 2. We have the Portville Panthers. They're led by Coach Bill Torrey, and their key players returning are Tegan Kozinski, Madison Foster, Sam Stedman, Avery DeFazio, Alicia Dickerson, Madison Ford, Peyton Young, and Kelsey Bradford.
And look at that. Look at the returning players from a 17-2 season last year. Look at that returning team right there, and you can see Portville's ready to reload and ready to go into this season.
Cattaraugus Little Valley, led by Coach Heather Kagenmacher, going to be led by Cora Sense, Kelly Schneider, and Grace Arnold.
No doubt looking to improve on their 2-10 record from last year. Looking to add in the mix Riley Preston and Madison Rogan is who they're looking to add in to improve on last year.
Salamanca, led behind by Keith Jones. Key players returning from an 8-8 team: Mackenzie Oates, Alyssa Perkins, Gus Hubble, and Courtney DuBois.
Yeah, had some big seniors last year, right? So they're going to look to try to fill the shoes of losing Emma Brown Morgan, maybe Kirsten Klein, Myra Brazili, and Riley Grant. That's tough to replace that, and that's looking what they're trying to do for this season.
Ellicottville will be led by Matt Finn. And then key players returning: Allison Rowland, Raya Quinn, Andy Northrup, Courtney Marsh. Team went 10-8 last year, but they have to replace first, second, and third base.
Yeah, and they do have a commit, Allison Rowland, who is looking to play at Finger Lakes Community College next year.
All right, next we have Franklinville. They're led by Sydney Surza. Went 2-12 last year, but returned some key players: Olivia Frank, Aubrey Enzel, Kaylee Answorth, Lilia Cudney, and Sarah Courtney. Next, we have North Collins, led by the legendary Jan Warren. They went 8-11 last year, but they return Haley Janzinski, Sophia Van Storm, Julie Jemerson, and Kate Ayers.
I always talk about one of the hidden gems of Western New York. The baseball and softball field that's over here. It really is.
Because they've had it for a little while
I
now.
understand that, but it's still a hidden gem.
No, but I couldn't agree. Like, they were quietly one of the first to get the turf field. They had it before a lot of the teams, maybe up in Erie County.
Oh, 100%. Oh, there's no doubt. But I just love the way that it's settled, kind of the way you come up on North Collins, right? You go to the back of the school right there, and it's like just nestled in perfectly right into there.
All right, and finally, before we take a break, we're going to talk about the West Valley Wildcats, coached by Brian Hansen. Went 7-8 last year, and they returned Lauren Francella, Colleen Keller, Nikki Blackwell, Sam Herbst, Ronnie Dufresne, and Maggie Parrish. So that'll wrap it up for our first segment of softball. Coming up next, we're going to talk about Monsignor Martin, the NFL, ECIC3, and then CCAA West. You're watching High School Sports Saturday on WNY Athletics.
Does he do car?
Forget about it.
How about home?
Forget about it.
Does he get good rates?
Forget about it.
And you're saying there's no problem too big for this guy?
Forget about it. Look, this is Johnny, the guy we've been talking about. Johnny, oh, well,
Mr. Wolf, it's nice to meet you. Thank you for the invite.
Not a problem. It's Paul, not Mr. Wolf.
Oh, sorry, Paul.
Johnny, forget about it. For all your insurance needs, call 835-WOLF. And...
Avoiding care can lead to worse problems. Don't delay care. We're here for you.
When you're ready to buy a home, start your search at howardhanna.com. You'll be the first to see new listings, find similar properties, and connect with a local Howard Hanna agent. Get started today at howardhanna.com.
Welcome back. High school sports Saturday. We're talking softball on the Diamonds. We talked about baseball earlier. You can go back when we're done and rewatch that one, but we are going to get through the softball ones today too. We may go a little bit longer today, but we didn't have a show last week, so I guess we kind of make up for that. So we'll go with Monsignor Martin. We'll start with Mount St. Mary's, led by Coach Paul Pertula. They went 4-6 last year. Key returning players: Taylor Zajac, Sophia Wolf, and Molly Reynolds.
We recognize that one name. So obviously it's Frank's niece is who it is right there. But this should be a team that's going to get better and better, right? They were very young last year and should be absolutely an older team this year. They're also going to be a part of our Western New York Athletics Softball Baseball Day up at Niagara Falls, where they're actually taking on Niagara Falls.
All right, next we'll go to Nardin. The Gators, led by on the bench by Jordan Judish. They have a majority of their team returning, including last year's Player of the Year, Aaron Newer, along with Mia Gilham and Jaden Suzelski.
But if you take a look at probably key losses right there, there's a big loss. And they lost a big pitcher right there who was off to Purdue is where she went. And no doubt we'll be looking to fill those shoes on the mound this year as where they're going to take that place.
Yeah, Julia Verney, she put up some great performances in those playoffs.
No doubt. And that'll be, again, how do you replace that? And that's what, you got to go through and figure out as the next season goes on.
All right, next we have Nichols. They're led by Molly Goslick. And then key returning players: Lily Colpoys, Ryan and Avery O'Carroll, Ellery Jakorietz, and Lauren Geyer. And, we mentioned Lily Colpoys. She was part of that basketball team, which had a great year. I'm sure they'll be looking for her to kind of bring some of that success over to the Diamond.
Yeah, unfortunately, they lost a couple key players that didn't come back this season to Nichols, and that was part of the reason why you probably don't see as many returning players on there. I think it was the catching spot and the second baseman spot were two key losses that Nichols wasn't able to return, where they're going to look to try to see how they fill those shoes.
All right, next one, we're going to go to St. Mary's, led by a new coach, but I think you all probably recognize the name. It's Erin Hufford, star player over at St. Mary's. Of course, just finished up a great career at Canisius. She's taking over as the head coach. We know Kevin's going to stay on as an assistant, of course.
There's probably about 10 assistants on that team is what it is. And I'm saying that tongue-in-cheek. I love the Hufford family. What they do for softball is just unbelievable, from Softball Central to, everything they do outside of that also just really is something to watch.
Key returning players: Ella Dovey, Alex Packard, Lauren Hyrick. Of course, they are the defending champs from Monsignor Martin. New players to watch out for: Danielle Spiegel, Natalie Cully, Lauren Payne. And their losses: Anna Dovey, Lily Larick, Belly Farina.
Yeah, Farina went off to Houston. Was one of their big Division I commits from last year. No doubt they're ready to retool, ready to go. There should be another very strong team, probably looking as the early favorite again in the Monsignor Martin division when you think about it. And they'll be ready to go for a new head coach right there. This should be a very fun team to watch. They're part of the Western New York Athletics Day. They're going to take on Orchard Park in that one, where we're going to get a chance to see a great matchup at 12:30 right there.
All right, those are all the questionnaires we got back from Monsignor Martin. So, there's a couple teams, Sacred Hearts out there, and I know I'm missing one or two, Mount Mercy. So we'll certainly keep an eye on those teams this year. But now let's jump to the NFL. We'll start with Kenmore East, led by Brian Burnham. This team went 10-12 last year. They returned Jane Riley, Gianna Core, and Lauren Knights.
Jane Riley's also committed to Geneseo to play at the next level. Watch out for also Tatiana Arroyo, Ava Grady, and Maria Costanzo also for Kenmore East.
Next, we'll go up to North Tonawanda, led by Coach Emily Benfield. Key players returning: Ella Marshall, Paige Raymond, Kylie Scherzer, Addison Deandra.
And new players to watch out for: Arabella Christopher and Kara Thompson, and Haley Suter is off to play softball at Nazareth.
Kenmore West, one of the more storied programs in this league, led by Kim Leggett. They are going to be led this year, returning players Olivia Fogel-Leffer, Ella Valenti, Victoria Hatch, Danny Hatch, and Sam Horn.
And new players to watch out for: Ligli Foglia and Sammy Padilla.
And finally, next up is the returning champs, Niagara Wakefield, the Falcons, led by Kevin Schuckner. Key players returning: Julia Quitchoff, Maria Huff, Alicia Gianni, Sasha Ziata, Hannah Idzik, and Haley Cacciatore.
So the big question will be for the Quitcox family, right? When they're on the mound and the brother's on mound pitching one game and the sister's on the mound pitching the other game, where do you go?
Maybe they have to. One parent goes to one, the other goes to the other.
And I'm teasing, right? What a problem to have, because you could be talking about complete shutout games happening on both of those fields. That's how good both these pitchers are, and they are going to be absolutely something to watch. Giannini is going to actually play at East Stroudsburg University, Division II commit. Great program right down there at East Stroudsburg. Great find right there.
All right, next we'll go to Lockport, led by Coach Stephen Kursa. Key players returning from a 10-9 team: Bree Delaney, Abby Rice, Ivana King, Megan Adams, Cecilia Luciano, Sam Healy, and Hannah Flynn.
Another Division I commit coming there is Bree Delaney's off to Niagara University to play softball.
Next, we'll go up to Lewiston Porter. They're led by Coach Larry Lash. 4-14 last year, but we returned Kayla Mang, Emily Palmero, Michaela Alexander, Julia Hoffman, Alyssa Dashun, Reyes Rodriguez.
And Emily Palermo is off to Nazareth also.
Niagara Falls, Coach Martha Amoretti. Key players from a 9-8 team, returning: Ava White, Alexis Chrisman, Emelina Mara, Molly Sopus, Isabella Maynard.
And new players to watch out for: Liliana France and Cheyenne Wright.
And to wrap up the NFL, we'll go to Grand Island, led by longtime coach Cheryl O'Connor, another Canisius graduate, along with Aaron Huffer, and I'm sure there's probably a couple others in here. Went 12-4 last year. Going to have key returning players: Izzy Pedsick, Brooke Caldwell, Madeline Montez, and Bella Jamie.
And Hannah Simpson and Natalie Kampf are going to be your new players to watch out for. And Izzy Pesdick will be actually off to play softball at Buff State. And Grand Island will be joining us also at Western New York Athletics Day, where they're going to get the opportunity to take on Will North and Michelle Switzer.
All right, let's next move on to ECIC 3. We'll start with the Cheektowaga Warriors, Coach Kevin Wolzowski. And this team returns Ariana Duval, Olivier Falcaro, Giovanna Anthony, and Aubrey Duval.
And Savannah Brzezinski will be your new player to watch out for, and Duval is off to play at Alfred State.
Pioneer, also an ECIC 3, coming off a 2-14 season, but they return Savannah Brudette, Claire Bragg, Brooke Eastman, Lily Megan, and Alexis Sobek, who will be looking to turn things around for the Panthers.
And Brooke Eastman is off to play at Elmira College, while the new players to watch out for will be Taylor Rosier, McKenna Rosier, Alyssa Halstead, Ella Owens and Julia Fiansori.
Maryville also looking to turn things around. They'll be led by key returning players Kaylee Gozinski, Sophia Barton, Riley Nickens, Soli Lincoln Marshall, Ashley Lemroux, and Alex Scott.
And Kaylee is actually off to play at Gannon University Division II softball.
Next, we're going to go to Lakeshore, led by Coach Vince Fenzino. They went 8-8 last year. They returned Kate DiMartino, Carly Frazier, Liz Trzowski, Jordan Colvin, and Riley Persinger. Next is Depew, led by Coach Dan Seelig. Key players returning this team. They went 18-6. They made it to the state semifinals. They, of course, returned Mia Vanelli, Player of the Year last year, along with Jordan Kanik, Natalie Witt, and Ella Pagano. When you turn your pitcher and catcher as a softball team, a team that went to the state semifinals, expectations are high for 2023.
I still never forget the game we called at Depew, right? It was, were you there for that one?
Which one was it? Was it the playoff game?
No, it was, we did a game. It was Stu. It was a regular season. It was Stu and I that were on the call, and I can't remember if we had you with us or not, who our producer was. It was just about to rain. But Mia gets up and hits this bomb that I still think hasn't landed yet. It went over the scoreboard, and when the wind was blowing, it was crazy weather that day. But that's when I got the first chance to ever see Mia play. And I'm going to tell you, she is something to watch. She really is. If you get a chance to go out and watch a player this year, here's one of the ones you got to get out and see. She was another catcher. Just think about that. Two amazing catchers we've got here in Western New York that are off to play Division I softball, right? Division I softball.
Wow.
We've got two catchers here in the area that are going to do it. And she really is, like I said, something to watch. And she's got a chance to be a Player of the Year candidate also. But Kanik, again, is huge on the mound. And when those two are in sync, watch out. When Kanik can go out and shut things down, and when Mia gets that bat going, watch out. And then you add, Witt and Pagano into the mix. Really is a tough team. There's no doubt this team is going to go after and try to compete again for another championship.
And finally, ECIC 3, it's East Aurora, led by George Weimer as coach. 8-9 last year. They returned Alyssa Kingston, Jenna Smozuski, Madison Diebold, Brianna Lemke, and Natalie Deitch.
A new player to watch out for, Kaylin Legg. So, like I said, this should be another great year, but I got to tell you, I mean, Depew really has a solid team that's coming back. They're going to be a tough team to beat in this division.
All right, we'll wrap up before this segment with CCAA West 1. We'll start with Southwestern, led by coaches Jen Anderson and Darren Beckerink. 3-14 last year, they returned Madison Krasinski, Jaden Newhouse, and Ashley Swan. Next up is Olean. They're led by this coach. I don't know if you ever heard of him. His name is Steve Anastasia. This team went 15-7 last year. It looks like they won the league. Emma Edwards, Olivia Krautz, Ariel Main, Amy Campbell, Ava Finch, and Ava Bates return.
Yep. And Maine is looking to play at the next level. Should be playing at Alfred State.
Next up, we'll go to Fredonia, led by Coach Jesse Beers. Went 16-3 last year. Jordan Lucas, Gabby Matos Dominguez, Jenna Truby, and Jalen Davis.
They're going to be a tough out again. Pitching, and it belongs down there in Fredonia. There's no doubt about it.
All right, next we'll go to Falconer, led by Coach Kaylee Cyber. 10-3 last year, 10-3 in the league, 13-4 overall. Kayla Lynn, Danny Krenzer, Hannah Melquist, Emily Reinhart all return. I think Falconer won the Class C title last year.
Yeah, and but a lot of key losses right here. So we'll see if they're going to be able to reload after some of those losses, some of those big losses of players that will be playing at the next level too.
Next up, Jamestown, led by Coach Bill Canfield. They went 3-12 last year, but they returned Kaylee O'Brien, Aubrey Reynolds, and Kaylee Williamson.
And new player to watch out for, Reagan Powers.
And finally, we have Allegheny Limestone led by Kaylin Shea. Key players returning Taylor Foster and Michaela Rose, Chessie Kleiss. Tom, I look at this division. You have Olean, Fredonia, Falconer. This is going to be a lot of fun.
Yeah, and I'm going to give the early nod to Fredonia in this one. I just think they've got the pitching and to really do something special again. Fredonia would be my early in the clubhouse leader. Watch out, like you said, Olean should be another great team. And then the big question is, will Falconer reload and be able to get themselves back to where they were previous last year?
All right, we're going to take a short break. When we come back, we're going to kick off with CCAA West 2 and go over the rest of the softball league. You're watching High School Sports Saturday on WNY Athletics.
Sometimes it just isn't your day. We all need a little help from time to time. That's why we're committed to providing safe, quick, and cost-effective care. And we keep it simple. Just walk in. We're here for you. Learn more today.
Do you insure a lot of businesses?
Yes, we do.
How about restaurants?
We got a bunch.
Do you cover property damage?
Yes, we do.
How about my equipment?
Covered.
How about sewer backup?
We got it.
What if my cook gets hurt?
They're covered.
Foodborne illnesses?
Covered.
What if my party tent goes down?
Covered under property damage.
And you say this is all under one policy?
One policy.
When do I pay?
Once a month.
Just one time?
Just one.
Is there anything you don't cover?
What's your record for consecutive questions asked?
31.
Tables. We don't do tables.
Gotta love Buffalo.
For all your insurance questions, call the Wolf at 835-WOLF.
We realize now more than ever is the perfect time to have the perfect house. We're confident we'll find your dream home. Howard Hanna. Home happens here.
All right, welcome back. High School Sports Saturday, final segment. Last four divisions of our softball. We talked about baseball earlier, so when this ends, you can go back and rewatch that. We also talked about girls flag football starting this week, or at least their league game starting this week as well. So lots to look forward to. So CCAA West 2, we'll start with Westfield Wolverines. They're led by Sean Guznaski. 20-3 last year. They returned Haley Dello along with Ava Grznarski. Trying to pull up all their names. Of course, you have Tanley Bestine, Sydney Hawkes, Madison Burgess, and Mackenzie Schumacher. Next up is Panama. They're led by Coach Tammy Hausler. Tough year last year, went 3-11. They have a young team this year. They're looking to be turning things around. Next up is Cassadaga Valley. They're led by Jerry Crandall. They return Andrea Johnson, Haley Myers, and Emily Anderson.
I'm going to be honest with you, right? There's two strong teams, and we're going to look at them right now, especially you're going to circle a date right now in this calendar, and that's going to be May 3rd when Westfield will get the opportunity to take on Chautauqua Lake, right? Want to know why this is even more key? You're going to see two Division I commit pitchers go head-to-head with each other in this one. So you're going to actually see Haley Dello, committed to George Mason, pitch against Canisius commit Olivia Harrington.
And how great is to see that in C and D as well.
Listen, I don't care where it is, right? It just
no,
shows,
but I mean, it's a little less.
Yeah. But look at, we've seen it on both sides, both baseball and softball. Look at Portville last year, right? Portville sent Max Yell to West Virginia University, and he's pitching already at Division I. He's making an impact right now. Classes mean nothing, especially on the baseball, softball field. You really put in the work, and you will absolutely still get the recognition.
All right, I do want to mention, though, Chautauqua Lake, the Thunderbirds, they went 12-4 last year. They returned Olivia Harrington. You mentioned she's going to Canisius. Jenna Walters, Kaisley Johnson, Lucy Gates, Jillian Miller, and Mallory Morrison. Let's see.
You want to go to Westfield since we were talking about that?
We did Westfield. Okay. I lost count here. Did we do Clymer Sherman yet?
Yes, you did.
Okay. Then we have Maple Grove. They went 5.
Oh, no, I'm sorry. You did Panama. You didn't do Clymer Sherman. I apologize.
Okay, Clymer Sherman. They went 8-8 last year. Going to have key returning players: Janelle Burkowski, Ella Bodimer, Reagan Bates.
And Bates is off to play at Brockport.
Maple Grove, led by Coach Rebecca Allen. This team is going to be led by Aaron Mansfield, senior shortstop, Ella Dawes, a senior catcher, and another senior, Courtney Martin, who plays center field. And then finally, it's Frewsburg, went 9-7 last year. Key returning players: Braylon Stelmack, Paige Whippo, Corrine McLaughlin, and Tegan Torkey. And that's your CCAA West 2. You know, my computer screen is in the way, so it's tough for me to see. But it looks like we have, we're going to go up to Niagara County. We're going to do Niagara Orleans. We'll start with Newfane, led by Coach Megan Forsyth. They're going to try to turn things around after a 2-12 year. They're going to be led by Emma Hofer and Ava Brown.
And they're rebuilding on top of rebuilding already. They lost 7 seniors last year, and we'll be looking to replace that this season and see the rebuild process begin.
All right, next we'll do Medina, led by Connie Hoschke. They went 3-9 last year, but they return Riley Van Nostrand, Bailey McAdoo, and L'Oreal Sanders. Next is Albion, led by Coach Sarah Copenhaver. This team returns Cammie London, Mackenzie Snook, Madison Huson, and Maya Kanaki. Next is Barker, led by Eileen Gilbert, head coach. Went 10-6 last year, 8-4 in Niagara Orleans League play. They led by Peyton Bradley, their pitcher, Mia Herman, Lily Monanthony, Anna Bomeyer, Natalie Brandel, Kaylee Stoll, Rachel Stutter, Aliyah Wheat, and Samantha Murphy.
Their big loss will be Evelyn Bish, who they lost last year.
After a 13-3 season, Roy Hart returns. They have Coach Taylor Keenan. They also have returning players Caitlin Midletter, Juliana Berscano, and Maria Personini.
And they lost a Division I player, Rihanna Perkins, right there. That's going to be a huge loss that they're going to look to try to overcome this season.
Next, we have Wilson, Coach Daniel Lazinski, 7-9 last year. They return Rian Ferry, Kate Seife, Aline Adamczak, and Lila Frericks. And finally, Niagara Orleans, we have the Akron Tigers, led by Marley Stone. This team went 10-6 overall, 7-5 in league play. They return shortstop Elise Logan, catcher Ashley Henning, pitcher Mary Diggs. All right, next we're going to head to ECIC 4. We'll start with JFK, co-coached by Casey Snyder and PJ Odrobina. They went 12-5 last year, return Ashley Wilkowski, Olivia Roach, Autumn Lopez, and Tori Finkins.
And return some nice players from last year that they're going to return. This is a team that should really be right there in the mix again.
Next, we'll go to Alden. The Bulldogs going to be led by Coach Jeffrey Grzelski. 15-4 overall record. They return Silva White, Lily Bromstead, Emily Eberth, Taylor Lorenk, Kendall Shandel. Next is the Eden Raiders. They're led by Coach Alexis Nasca. They went undefeated in their league play last year. Returning players, Alyssa Johnson, Maeve Molziski, Clarice Canfield, Lizzie Kozolski, Catherine Kozolski, Kazala, Lizzie Kazala, Catherine Kazala, and Abby Verardi.
So, Eden's a strong team year after year after year. Coach Nasca down there in Eden just does a fantastic job. She runs her own, kind of like what Softball Central does. She's got her own program, ITF, down inside the Southtowns League. She also adds Mike Belagamba to the mix, who is part of the Southtown Slammers down there that he created. This is going to be a nice little team with an incredible coaching staff. Young right here, but I think you're going to really see this team still be very successful. And part of the reason is how strong this coaching staff is.
All right, next we'll go down to Holland. Bridget Gunther is their coach. They return Gracie Gilchrist, Morgan Perry, Deanna Mitz, Jessica Heimers, and Cecilia Romani. Tonawanda coming back up to Northtowns, led by Coach Tim Frappa. Ski went 5-10 last year, but they returned Samantha Heim and Rebecca Oates. Cleveland Hill, led by Coach Kaylee Metzer. This team went 6-11 last year. They returned Madison Harrington, Camara Shelton, and Olivia Grant. And finally in ECIC4, you have Springville. They're led by Robert Kane, key returning player Ella Whitman, and key new players to watch out for, Grace Rickey and Mia Rogers. And that'll wrap up ECIC4. In our final division, we're going to go to Buffalo. We'll start with South Park, led by Coach Paige Anderson. They went, looks like 4-2 last year. Key returning player Ariana Rodriguez. Leonardo da Vinci, led by Coach Carisha Smith. They'll be back this year. They do have to replace a key pitcher from last year. Hutch Tech, last year, they won the BPS title 3 years in a row. They went 15-1. Key players returning Cassidy Caraci, Paige Van Avery, Anavera Alvarez Colon, Christina Greco, Bianca Bennett. You have, I believe this is Riverside. They're led by Jody Bowers. They return Patience Howie and Deanna Hadish. Middle Early College, led by Coach Mary Del Signori. 3-4 last year. Janella Clemens, Julien's Azirola. You have, let's see. I'm trying to figure what team this is. But you have key players returning, Sandrine Chilzinski. And then finally, you know what team we forgot to get? We're trying to figure out what division they're in. There's some trying to figure that out is Brockton. We know they're in CCA. We're not sure which one exactly. But they're led by Coach Maria Persch. And they return Crowder, Furman, Uteg, Sears, Carlson, and Donner. But that'll do it for our softball preview.
This is going to be a fun season.
Yes.
So, this is we wanted to make sure we recognize some of these young men and women that are out there, get a chance to, hear their names. We've got a big season ahead of us. The weather we know was great this week. It's not going to be so great next week. But as the weather finally breaks, you'll see us out there so we can get all our equipment outside into the elements and really start covering some of these baseball and softball games that are out there.
All right. Any final thoughts before we wrap it up?
It's baseball. It's softball time. It's baseball time. It's time to go. It's we're raring. And please, if you can help us out at all with Western New York Athletics Softball Baseball Day, let us know because it is going to be a special event right out there. And we want all of you to be a part of this Western New York.
All right, that will do it for this week's edition of High School Sports Saturday. Keep an eye on our social media for games this week on the NFHS Network and all season long.
I love being home.
With exclusive buyer insights and our 100% money-back guarantee, we're confident we'll find buyers for your home. Howard Hanna. Home happens here.
Logistics Plus is a global transportation provider headquartered in Erie, PA, with locations worldwide, including right here in Western New York. Logistics Plus is